So very interesting week in sports this week. A lot of things are happening in the 3 leagues. We'll go ahead and start with the NFL. A lot of teams moving around the last couple of weeks, especially the 49ers, which is the first game we're going to talk about. Rams 49ers. What are your thoughts on that, Berning? Go ahead, get started.
I'll tell you my thoughts. I'm flirting with the idea of massive rebuild.
Massive rebuild.
Think about it. Debo's gone. Debo's gone. I'm flirting with the idea the coach is gone.
Shanahan.
Get some draft picks for Shanahan to the Bears.
Trade Shanahan.
Trade Shanahan to the Bears. Purdy.
He apparently, I don't know if it's actually him saying it. Supposedly he wants $55 million plus a year.
It's absurd. I'm not sure that's the best.
I can't see him acting like a diva though and sitting out to beg for that. That's his agent talking.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to destroy the team because he gets $55 million. They don't get the same. They don't get Kittle on a big contract. They don't get defensive players on a big contract. They don't get fucking McCaffrey on a big contract. I mean, there's a certain limit to how much your quarterback can get paid, and they need to talk to him and say, look, the only reason you're having this success is because we have these players that we're paying this much.
Yeah.
If we pay you this much, we're not going anywhere. We can move on with another quarterback and get the same success.
I don't know. The problem is the draft. I was listening to some things earlier today. They're saying they should draft a guy.
Like who?
I don't know. Jalen Milroe.
I mean, you could draft the Oregon quarterback.
That's true. I don't know. I think this team is old though, man.
The only reason I think they're having this many injuries is because of the playoff appearances. Yeah. I think if they take the rest of the season off, you sit Kittle, you sit Bosa, you sit Warner,
Devondre Campbell.
Sit Devondre Campbell. I mean, you let Purdy play. Obviously, McCaffrey's not playing.
Yeah.
You come back healthy, like your 25-year-olds again next season.
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing you can do right now.
I'm not really sure. I mean, it's tough if they pay Purdy $55 million. I just feel like their hands are tied, and I don't know if that's the best way to go about it.
I mean, the Rams moving on from the 49ers, that dumpster fire.
Yeah.
The Rams are solid. They're a solid little team.
I'm not sold, man. I'm just not. The game was weird considering the conditions. So it's really hard
Not a touchdown scored.
It's really hard for me to judge that game.
I mean, Stafford 16 for 27, 180 yards.
Yeah.
Kyron Williams 29 carries, 108 yards.
He's underrated. I underrated him. I thought he was a one-season wonder last year.
Yeah.
But they're in such a weird spot to me because I don't think they're better than Detroit. I don't think they're better than Philadelphia.
But they don't have to be. The NFC West.
But the problem is Stafford's gonna I'm looking ahead. Stafford's gonna keep getting older. I'm just trying to think moving on. I feel like this is the best they're always gonna be. They're never gonna be that team that won the Super Bowl that had 13 wins. I just don't see it.
Well, they sold their future for that Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean they've done a great job of rebuilding in the last year and a half.
McVay is a really smart coach.
Yeah,
he can make these mid teams look good. But I think they're better than the Seahawks. I think they're better than the Cardinals. That's their only competition.
It is a weak division.
The Seahawks are not good.
Dude,
we'll talk about them later.
Puka Nacua, man, that kid is so good.
I think out of the NFC West, the Rams right now have the most talented roster.
The defensive line is looking a lot better. I worry about their secondary.
Secondary and offensive line.
They got burned. Unfortunately, the Niners didn't have a receiver that could catch a ball.
Well, let's see. The 49ers' best receiver in that game was George Kittle, 4 catches, 61 yards, no touchdowns.
Yeah. I worry about their secondary, but I mean, they're in a good spot. If they end up as the 3 seed, which is a real possibility at this point, and they face Green Bay or Minnesota in the first round.
If I'm one of those teams, 11 win, 13 win Vikings, I'm worried about the Rams.
That's a tough game. They already beat them, I think.
Because the Rams can go into your house and beat you.
Yeah.
They've shown that this season. And let's see. They didn't give up a sack against the Niners too.
Yeah.
The Rams had a sack. The Rams had 3 sacks.
Yeah.
In that game.
Well, their defensive line is
Their defensive line,
very good.
I mean, they filled in Aaron Donald like it was nothing.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they are very dangerous, but I have a hard time seeing them beating those top 2 teams. Now, with the Lions' injuries in the secondary, you know, Kupp and Nakua could have a field day if that is a matchup.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I think that they're better than Seattle. I think if it comes down to those 2 winning the division
100%
in the last week of the season, I think they'll beat Seattle. They'll beat Seattle.
Yeah.
So if that's the case and they end up as a 3 seed, who knows?
You want to move on to... let's go Commanders Saints. I mean,
this was a weird one because I thought I actually took Commanders live odds. I thought the Commanders would smoke them when they brought Spencer Radler in. So I took live odds Commanders to win by 19, and sure enough they won by 1 point.
The Saints are such a weird team. I mean, I don't even know if Carr's healthy. I think they have the same trajectory that they had this season because they just. I don't know what happened. They started the best team in the league. They started out as the best team in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They have so many bad contracts on that team.
Let's see. Rattler, 10 for 21, 136.
He played well. He played well. He brought him back. He brought him back. But he's not the future.
He's just he's like a little spaz young quarterback.
He's hard to look at. He's a weird looking guy.
He's like an albino Mahomes.
Yeah. I mean, he played well yesterday or the other day, but
Kamara 5 for 12 rushing. I mean,
it's not it. He's such a threat in the receiving
4
game.
for 58, 1 touchdown receiving.
Yeah, he's just not a every down running back. He's always been like that.
They don't have a guy that can be though. I mean, they got Kendry Miller, 9 for 46. I mean, 5.1 per carry.
Yeah, I don't know where they go from here because they can't. I don't believe they can.
Quarterback.
They can't cut Carr. And they're never going to be a team that's going to have a high enough draft pick to get someone good.
They're 5-9 right now. I mean, they'll get a decent.
They'll be. I mean, but 5-9 with this year, that's not even a top 10.
I'm gonna look up.
I think that's probably between 10 and 13. A god awful spot. They're one of those teams that's just middle of the road.
They've been like that for the last.
They've been like that since Breeze left.
Yeah.
They need someone to come in and recognize this and just dump all those contracts and commit to the rebuild. Commit to being 3-14 next season.
I mean, their receivers aren't even good too.
A lot.
I mean, they're throwing to Dante Pettis as their wide receiver.
you know him pretty well.
I know all about that guy. Scared to take a hit.
Yeah.
I mean, Valdez Scantling, he's
been their best receiver.
He's not a wide receiver 1.
Yeah, Olave's been hurt, but even when he's healthy, I've never been I don't know. They're a weird team. As for the Commanders, it was a good win. Jaden, I thought, played a lot better than he has been in recent weeks.
Let's see. Jaden, 25 for 31, 226, 2 touchdowns.
No, he looked good. It was weird that their defense is, concerning, but they're young.
I mean, you've come to expect that from Jaden Daniels at this point. He's an established quarterback already.
Yeah, I mean, Terry McLaurin.
Terry.
He's been I've liked him since he was playing with Case Keenum 5 years ago. I don't know. If they're the 7 seed, which it looks like they're going to be,
I don't know who they play.
They play Philadelphia. In theory, I don't see them going on the road to a hostile environment and winning.
How have they done this season? I'm not sure against.
They lost to Philadelphia in a Thursday night game. It was close. I think.
Have they played a second time?
No, they haven't.
Oh, that's a good guess. That's this week.
That's this week.
Okay, we can get to that.
Yeah, that'll be a lot. I don't know. I think that this season was more about just establishing the future and making.
I don't think they had any inkling that they would be this good.
Yeah, making the playoffs is just a bonus at this
They'd
point.
be a 10-11 win team with a new coach and a rookie quarterback. Yeah. I mean, nobody expects that.
The thing to watch moving forward for them is if Cliff does get a job for the Bears, how is their offense going to look? But no, right now they're in a great spot. They're going to continue to build talent.
They have a good line, good defense. I mean, the defense does need work.
Yeah, but they have a good coach to build the defense.
He's a defensive-minded coach.
Yeah, I think they're going to be really, in a couple of years, they might be the best team in the conference. But right now, I think they're going to be a playoff team, but they're probably a first-round exit.
All right, we can move on to Chiefs-Browns. I mean, that game was just...
Well, I mean,
It honestly, if I'm the Chiefs, I'm not happy with that game.
Yeah, you're not happy. I mean, they needed to win this game, though, considering Mahomes' injury.
And Mahomes going down to the high ankle sprain.
But to be fair, I'm not concerned about that.
They could sit him even if he wasn't.
His yearly ankle sprain, I'm not concerned. But I'll say this. I'm concerned that the receiving core has not showed out. I thought D-Hop, who I've been a fan of for years, would just immediately...
they're such a weird team.
Be a guy that would just be taking over games. He really hasn't. Kelsey still looks anemic. He's not stretching the field as much as he could. And I think it's the left side. I think it's the left side of their line is just atrocious right now. So
Mahomes 19 for 38.
Yeah, that's
two
tough.
tutties. The Browns obviously have a great defense, but
yeah,
they're the Browns.
That was a tough game to watch. Listen, if it's Carson Wentz time, I think they can still win a couple games with Carson Wentz. I think as far as backups go,
it doesn't matter. They have the division.
Yeah, and I think as long as they don't lose two more games.
I think if they lose every game and the Broncos win every game.
Well, I think they locked up the division.
Oh, they did.
It's the 1 seed that they're going after.
They're playing against the Ravens
or the Texans. They're playing the Texans. It's a tough game
for the 1 seed. They're going
against the Bills. They have a 2-game lead on the Bills.
Right. I could see the Chiefs winning every single game the rest of the season.
I could see them doing that with Carson Wentz.
Not necessarily, but I could see them just winning every game by 3 points.
Yeah.
Nothing has said that they can't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
They just play to their competition every single week.
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt, 13 for 45. He's not really an RB1.
They have Pacheco back.
Yeah. They split, 26 carries between the two of them and 77 yards?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm never going to bet against this team. I thought they were dead in the water last year and they won the Super Bowl.
Lead the league in drops last year and won the Super Bowl. Yeah. Their receiving core might be better than it was last season.
And they're going to get Hollywood Brown back. Yeah. I don't know how effective he'll be, but yeah.
Xavier Worthy, he is a future in the league. He's going to ask for big money soon.
Xavier Worthy.
I can see him being a good play.
I don't know if he's a...
Because right now he's the wide receiver 1.
He is, but he's too small. I don't look at him as a Tyreek Hill, despite his speed. I just don't think he's...
Is he a rookie or second year?
No, I think they just drafted him.
Yeah.
A rookie.
A rookie, what are his season stats? Let me see.
Every game he has one play.
Xavier Worthy right now, 44 catches, 494 on the year, 4 touchdowns.
Is that what you expect?
As a rookie, though,
they use him in a lot of different ways.
They do.
They use him out of the run game a lot. I don't know.
And then Browns,
they're in the talk about
they're
the worst,
Browns. Yeah.
Worst. If they bring back Deshaun Watson,
they're the Browns. I don't think you bring back. No, you don't bring back Deshaun.
I think they said they're going to.
Jameis 16 for 25, 146, 0 touchdowns, 3 picks.
It's the Jameis Winston experience.
They brought in DTR. He threw 9 passes for 18 yards.
I just don't know where they go. If they bring back Deshaun Watson,
And Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb can still be Nick Chubb.
Yeah, but he got injured again.
He got injured in that game?
I think he broke his foot.
Oh, I did not even know that.
Yeah, so...
They got Jerome Ford.
He had a good game.
Jerry Jeudy's a monster.
He's a monster. In Denver, they misused him in Denver.
He's proven he can be... they might trade him.
They should. His value is sky high, but no, he's balled out this year. I don't know. They're just in such a tough space.
There's really just not a lot to talk about between these two teams. One of them's Super Bowl, one of them's worst team in the league. All right, let's move on to Bengals Titans. This is a juicy one. Joe Burrow, 26 for 37, 271, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks.
Listen, it's the story of their season. Their offense has looked incredible, but it's just their defense.
27 to the Titans.
Yeah.
That's...
I think Will Levis threw 3 interceptions, too.
And Will Levis... Mason Rudolph came in the game.
And then he threw an interception.
Yeah,
so.
he did. Levis threw 12 passes. 3 of them were picks.
Oh man. I mean the Bengals look good. I mean their offense has all year. I mean it's a little.
Chase Brown, he's
been playing
the
better.
RB1
The
of the future.
last few weeks he's played better. It's too little, too late. They're just.
Yeah.
I mean I
Can
know
they make the playoffs?
if they win out and the Broncos or the Chargers lose out.
They're 6-8 right now.
Yeah. So if they finish 9-8 and like a bunch of other teams finish 9-8, but.
I mean, even if they did make the playoffs, I would not want to play them.
They're the scariest team.
Yeah, they could put up 45 on you like it's nothing.
I mean, when those two receivers are healthy, because I don't know if T. Higgins is.
I don't know if they
next
keep
year.
T. Higgins for the future.
I don't think they can.
He's gonna ask for 30-40 million a year.
Unless Burrow's willing to.
Burrow's on what 50?
He's on 50.
Plus?
He's on 55 if he's willing to restructure, but.
But I don't think that would even help. I think T. Higgins.
That's what I'm saying. I think they're better off.
They're just as good without T. Higgins.
They're better off drafting a guy on a cheap contract and rebuilding.
And then building that defense.
They need to build a deep. They need a guy to. I mean.
I think they make some trades with the Browns. Maybe
they make some trades. They need to build that defense because they can't continue to waste.
Myles Garrett is a name, but do the Browns ever move on from him?
It's tough to say. He's been their identity.
He is the team.
He is their team.
Browns.
But at the same time, they need to.
But he doesn't have to be.
They don't.
I mean, just because they have nobody else.
They just have. They gave up so much in that Deshaun Watson trade. They have to certainly think about it. But
we don't need to talk about the Titans. Dolphins Texans. That's
interesting game. Interesting game.
Let's see. Tua. 29 for 40, 196.
It was the most atrocious game I think he's ever played.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened to Tyreek Hill. I don't know if that's.
I'm telling you, as you get older, his main attribute is speed. Once you lose it by just a half.
But if you put him on like the Texans or another team, I don't think he's having the same season.
I think they've just figured him out. I think teams are just willing to give up the smaller yardage plays and just like he's had maybe one big play this whole season.
But. Do you put that on the quarterback situation?
I think it's the scheme.
Tua and Tyreek had like an insane connection. They always were on the same page.
I think they still do, but it's just their scheme is older.
Yeah, I think McDaniel looks like he's out of his league.
People have adjusted to it.
He doesn't look like he's a head coach right now.
Yeah, and when it's not a perfect script, when things are a little choppy,
if there's any sort of weather, the Dolphins are going to lose.
And this wasn't a dome.
Yeah.
And he looked like that.
They put up 12 points.
I don't know. They paid him this offseason. I think as long as he's there, they're going to keep McDaniel. They just need to... I really don't know. They need to build their defense to a point where they could sustain Tua not always being perfect, especially in bad conditions.
And then the Texans, that's a more interesting one. CJ, 18 for 26, 131, touch.
I mean, he didn't play horribly. It's weird.
He hasn't looked good.
Their offense has not been the same since Stephon Diggs towards ACL.
Mixon, 12 for 23, no touchdowns.
Yeah, that's... He's been playing well this whole season, though. But he had a bad game.
Tank Dell, he hasn't stepped up like everyone thought he would.
Yeah, he was coming off an ACL injury.
Yeah.
Nico, I think, is their...
he's the best receiver on the team.
He's their best receiver on the team.
But 4 for 17, 2 touchdowns, though.
So he was efficient.
He was efficient.
Yeah, he's still a big deep ball threat, but I don't think anyone fears. I think every wild card team in the AFC wants to play them in the first round.
Because they're a young, inexperienced team.
And they just... Now, I will say this. Their defense has been great this season.
Yeah, D'Amico Ryans knows how to...
He
calls defense.
They have a great pass rush. Yeah. And I think Stingley, their best cornerback, Stingley, he's having a great year. So.
Stingley had 2 picks that game.
Yeah, he's been great. So they could certainly make a little bit of a run if they rely on their defense and CJ doesn't turn the ball over. It's a nasty matchup for the Chiefs, Texans. Yeah. That's the last team they want to play. Especially with that pass rush.
Because they have a fast, young defense that's going to be running all over the place on Mahomes and his receivers. And it's not, especially if Wentz is playing, they're not going to win that game.
Man, but they'll win. They're lucky they were in such an easy division, so they coasted to the division. Now it's just about can they find an identity that can win them meaningful games.
Yeah, and if not this season,
it'll be interesting. Diggs, I know, is a free agent. I thought he was playing well actually for them this season. So
He's getting 80, 70,
Yeah.
80 yards a game.
and he was opening things up for
Yeah.
Nico and the other guys. So
Exactly.
they have some decisions to make, but I still like CJ a lot. I think he's obviously their franchise, and I think they'll be a good team for years to come.
He is having a bit of a sophomore slump though.
Yeah, I mean they've had some injuries. Nico was out for a good chunk of the year, but for the most part they should be happy at 9-5. They should be.
All right, Ravens, Giants. Not much to
Not
talk
much
about
to say.
there.
Lamar against the NFC continues.
This game went how everyone thought it was going to
Continues
go.
to be Lamar.
Lamar 21 for 26, 290.
It's absurd. It's absurd stats. It's absurd. I mean,
yeah, every touchdown is a passing touchdown. I mean, if the Ravens can do that, then there's literally no stopping them. If their passing game is working like that,
the key for them is they need to rely on Derrick Henry a little bit more, and when it gets tough.
And they can. I mean, he's proven that.
They've proven it, but like that's what stopped them last year. Like not relying on the.
They're sitting at 9-5. Honestly,
they could. I mean, if they
probably thought they'd be better than that.
Yeah, but this upcoming week is for the division, if I remember correctly, against Pittsburgh. So they're quietly still a really dangerous team. I just think their defense has been exposed too many times.
And Justin Tucker, honestly,
that's the biggest,
being that bad is like a big deal.
That's the biggest issue they have. Like you realize like
Exactly.
how dominant he was.
Yeah.
Like,
not having an automatic kicker like that.
It's a big deal. Like he's lost them at least 2 or 3 games this year.
That's probably the only kicker team you can say that for.
I know.
Affecting a team that much.
But yeah, they're tough to say. They beat up on really bad teams, but they've struggled at certain points this year. But I think they're always dangerous, and especially if Derrick Henry gets going.
Mm-hmm. Giants, I mean, really nothing to talk about.
I think they have to burn it down. I liked Dapple as a coach, but
he's a great coach.
I think it's just
he doesn't have a single thing to do. I mean,
they need to start fresh.
Malik Neighbors is gonna have a 1,000-yard season.
He's a great player, and then they have. I mean, the running back they drafted, Tracy.
Yeah, he's
a good player. Wandale's a good number 2 guy. They have some pieces, like, and the defensive line for the most part was pretty good this year.
Daniel Bellinger, SDSU legend. He's a good tight end.
I don't know.
It's just the quarterback and the line.
If they can get the 1 overall pick, we'll talk about it later. Yeah. But we'll see who they end up drafting.
That's a tough situation.
It's just the O-line.
Like, you almost don't even want the number 1 pick if you're the Giants.
Exactly.
You want like 8 or 9 or 10. They trade it, maybe.
Really? You don't think they draft him?
I mean, who did they draft? Shador? They draft
Shador would get
Travis Hunter?
Shador would get eaten alive.
It would be the same as Colorado right now.
Yeah.
He would get sacked 5 times a game.
That's true. I mean, yeah.
I think they just slowly build the O-line. You take a low-risk quarterback this year, I think. You take a quarterback in round 2 or 3.
Really?
Just so you have someone to start.
That's a take. I thought it was a foregone conclusion they're going to take Shador.
You think they're taking Shador?
If they're the 1 overall pick, yeah.
I think they trade that pick they trade that pick to someone who wants it.
Really?
Because you don't want a quarterback right now. I mean, you had Daniel Jones, who's a serviceable.
That's true. The problem is
Daniel Jones is going to be better in the NFL than any of these rookies are in their first season. I think he's experienced.
So they should bring him back.
No. But I'm saying they had no success with Daniel Jones.
I see.
What's a quarterback going to change that you draft?
I see. Yeah. No, I agree with you that they need to build the line.
Yeah.
I just think that they have a clear number 1 receiver right now.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
You need to, if they think
you can't waste him.
Unless they're not sold on one of these, like I think they like Shador, but if they're not sold on him, I agree with you. But
you don't want to throw out a rookie because that's just going to ruin the rookie quarterback's career. His confidence is going to be gone. Yeah. I mean, Dable might be able to make a few things work.
I think they're getting rid of Dable.
You think so?
Yeah.
The Ozempic.
He
lost all his brain power.
I think he needs to gain it back.
He lost all his brain power because he got
skinny. He needs to gain it back. But I think it's less about him being a bad coach and more about they just want a fresh start.
Yeah, I think Dable. Honestly, he could go to the Niners as an offensive
coordinator. A lot of teams would want.
Is he still a head coach? You think, or is he a coordinator?
I think he'll take a year off, be a coordinator, then be a coach.
He could be a nasty offensive coordinator on a good team.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they do move on from him.
Yeah. All right, moving on to Jets Jaguars.
This was an exciting game.
Okay, the Jets are They're a topic.
It brought a tear to my eye watching
Devontae catch
turn
a
back the
70-yard
clock.
bomb.
He looked great. I can't lie. I mean, some of those catches he was making on the sideline.
Yeah, he showed out.
But this is the question: was that performance enough for them to be like, we're gonna run it back?
I was thinking about this. I think the fact that they're still throwing it out there, they're still trying, shows that they're.
And I was looking at, because everybody's been making a big deal about how poorly Rodgers has played. I looked at his stats.
This season he hasn't been bad at all.
I think he's. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's hovering around like 25 touchdowns, 8 picks, over 90 passer rating. Like he has not been as badly as
he is 3,300, 23.8 right now.
See, those are solid numbers considering what he's been dealing with.
Very solid numbers.
Yeah, they need a competent coach. I don't think they're not gonna have a high enough draft pick at this point.
I mean, what do they need?
Yeah, they need to rebuild this line.
Because there's not like one thing you can point to except the offensive line, obviously. I mean, the defense is solid.
Yeah.
Receivers are solid.
Yeah.
Quarterback's solid. They just have 4 wins.
A lot of it's been coaching.
Yeah. I mean, what do the Jets do? I mean, what if you're the GM?
That's my point. Like,
if you're the GM, what do you do?
You can't look at that performance and be like, "There's no way that we'll ever be successful with Rodgers."
Because
there is a way.
If I'm the Jets GM, I'm keeping the team the same way. I'm saying we're gonna give it one more shot. Why we have Rodgers?
I would do the same because you like if there's a guy that falls in the first round and you want to take him, I'm okay with that. But I think them forcing a pick on a quarterback at this stage isn't.
I mean, you could. It did it. They tried that with Zach Wilson. I mean, obviously they didn't get it the way they wanted it, but with Rodgers in the room with Zach Wilson,
they need to. What they need to do is really get a guy that's gonna improve the run game.
Yeah,
because they have like Breece Hall is a good running back. He just hasn't been as effective in the run game as everyone thought.
I mean, if you're on the side of saying get rid of Rodgers, rebuild right now, why not run it back 1 year? You can't get worse than it is.
I think, and also they've given up so much in the last few years to get Rodgers and Devontae Adams. They have to.
You have to ride it out.
Like the last few weeks, they've looked like
a competent football
team. I know they lost to Miami, but that was kind of a fluke loss in overtime. They were the better team that day. So I think they run it back. It's maybe not a popular opinion, but I don't think Rodgers has been as poor this year as people say he's been.
Rodgers will be 42 next year.
I think they just need to bring in a competent coach that he respects. I think that was the biggest issue.
I don't know why. I mean, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but firing Saleh is just...
Why
would you ever do that?
Because the defense has been atrocious.
The defense was good with Saleh.
They were a top 5 defense.
They were playoff.
The problem is
Super Bowl,
Rodgers did not respect it.
He didn't,
And that's the problem. They need to bring in an established... Like, if they bring in, like, a Mike Vrabel, a guy that he is going to demand respect, if they're going to run the ball well, improve the offensive line a bit. Like,
bring in Baby Belichick. That's what they call him.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think if that makes things interesting. If they get Vrabel, commit to the run, improve the offensive line.
Even if you are bad next season, you get one more year of building the team. You get one more draft pick.
They're not gonna. They've given up too much, in my opinion, to just be like, we're starting over.
You're not gonna turn it around next season.
Exactly, and you cannot deny that he's played better the last 4 years.
And if you're rebuilding, then you already are accepting you're going to be bad next season.
Exactly.
So what's the difference if you're leaving the team the same way?
I mean, and people forget Devontae Adams. Like, he came midway through the season. Like, he was learning this offense on the go. So I mean, now you're seeing how well he's played the last few weeks. So no, I agree. They should run back.
And then what happened to Jacksonville?
They're one of the weirdest stories, because I thought, like, after that season when they won the playoff game with Trevor Lawrence, I thought they were on this, and then they were 8-3 last year, and then it's just been complete.
The comeback against the Chargers, they were down 20 points. I thought after that they're going to be a playoff team the next 5.
They're what the Texans have become with CJ.
Exactly.
I thought that was going to be them.
They don't have. I mean, their offensive line isn't that bad. Lawrence.
He's been injured. He's gotten banged up.
But even with
you know what it is.
With injuries.
You know what it is, because I think Doug Peterson's a great coach, but he gave up play calling to
he did.
To this young kid. I think it's Press Taylor.
Yeah.
I just know people have been upset about that, and maybe that is a factor. You know, I think the receiving core I think the Brian Thomas Jr. is elite. I think he's a great receiver.
Yeah, rookie.
But some of their moves, like Ridley last year, wasn't really a great pickup. Gabe Davis this year was not a great pickup. I think they need to be smarter about the guys that they get around him. But the issue with this team is their defense.
Yeah,
this is an atrocious defense.
It's probably the worst in the league.
Worst secondary I've seen in a while. Like there have been games this year that, I mean, just complete breakdowns in the secondary. So I think they're the team that I would say Travis Hunter would be perfect for. They need a lockdown corner.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only
team.
He
can play both ways,
He can play both ways. I don't think they're in as bad of a position as some other teams because I still like Lawrence a lot, even though I know hasn't played great. And I think they have a number 1 receiver, which not a lot of teams have.
Do you think Hunter is a top 3 pick, top 5 pick?
I think
because I could see him like dropping to like 10.
Really? Because if he's playing cornerback, like, are you going to draft a cornerback top 3?
Yeah.
I think he would fit well in Jacksonville. Like, people are saying like New England maybe, but New England already has a lockdown cornerback. So
Travis Hunter fits on any team.
He fits on any team, but I think Jacksonville is the best place for him. Right
now. I could see that.
And yeah, if I know they'll probably move on from Peterson.
You think so?
I think so.
Where's he get? Oh,
he's interesting because
he might go to the Jets. He could go to the Jets.
He's had a weird career. Like, at both teams he's been on, Eagles and Jaguars, they started off great, and then they've always ended messy.
He gets figured out.
I don't know if he gets figured out or he
loses the
locker room. So I think they'll move on from him. But if they can I think they need to go defensive. I think they need to get a guy that's gonna build the defense.
I mean, honestly, that's the way the NFL is moving right now. Quarterback, I don't know if it's the offensive line play just deteriorating in the league because you look at a lot of teams like the Jets, the Jaguars, the Niners, even the Rams. Everybody has a bad offensive line now.
Yeah.
I mean, the Ravens and the Eagles are really the only 2 teams you can point to that have solid all-around offensive lines.
I think they need to see what the Chargers did with Herbert this year and do that route. Get a guy like a Harbaugh that's going to build the defense, build the O-line.
Talk about them in a little
bit. We'll talk about them in a little bit. But I think the Jaguars, it looks terrible now, but I don't think they're in a terrible spot.
They have talent all over the roster.
And they have their quarterback and they have their receiver. So they have a lot more than a lot of rebuilding teams.
I mean, they are the most interesting 3-win team of all time.
Yeah. Well, because I thought they were the class of the AFC last year, and then they just completely fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
So.
All right, moving on to Cowboys Panthers.
Yeah, listen. So I was hearing that after Bryce Young had a few nice performances, that he was still their franchise quarterback. I cannot tell you how much that pissed me off.
He didn't play bad.
Listen, I like him. I think he's a nice kid, but there's no way you look at you. I don't know how anyone could still look at him, even when he's played well this year, and be like, "That's your franchise quarterback." He's just too little. He's like they're comparing him to Kyler Murray. He doesn't have Kyler Murray's arm talent.
Doesn't have the speed.
He doesn't have the speed. Like,
he doesn't have the decision making.
Like in the pocket, he's so nervous in the pocket. Like, I think he's played well at times this year, but it shouldn't distract this team from the fact that they need to move on from him. But again, I mean, it's the same. But it's the same question. Like, I don't know if there are enough quarterbacks this class.
I don't think they draft a quarterback this year.
I don't think they do.
I think that would be a huge mistake.
I think they're going to end up running it back with him one more year.
Yeah.
And the coach,
you start him week 1 next season.
And the coach, Canales, he's done a good job. I think he's gotten a lot out of Bryce Young that they couldn't get out of him last year.
Yeah.
They're in
the same spot they were.
Yeah, it is good that he's played better this year, but I still do not think he's their franchise quarterback.
They're in the exact same spot they were last season now.
Exactly.
With Bryce Young struggling, 3 wins, they don't know.
And they don't have a lot of talent. Like,
they don't. No.
That's the problem. Like,
Chuba Hubbard is decent, but he's not your.
I mean,
he's not a young.
He's not your franchise running back, and then. The receiver they drafted, Leggett, maybe he'll be good.
Louisiana boy.
Louisiana boy. I don't know. He's not. I don't see it with him, but maybe he could develop.
Thielen has maybe 2 seasons left.
Thielen's good. I wish they traded Thielen.
And he still looks really good when he's
That's
healthy.
what I'm saying. I wish he was on a contending team.
He could go back to the Vikings.
Yeah, he'd be a lot of help to a contending team, but As for Dallas,
I don't even want to talk.
I don't even want to talk about Dallas. I mean,
they're in such a bad spot right now.
They paid Dak $60 million.
They're in that's the last team you want to be in charge of. Right
The
now,
funniest thing is they've won enough games where they're not going to have a high draft pick.
Exactly. They're in a terrible
if
spot.
they finish like 8 and 9 with Cooper Rush playing most of the games, you could argue Mike McCarthy. You could argue, even though I believe he should be fired, you could argue Mike McCarthy did a decent job.
Do you start Dak next season? I mean, he looked awful.
But they're locked in $60 million.
He looked so bad when he played.
He looked terrible, but
maybe the rest will help.
I think that the problem is they didn't have a good run game this year.
Yeah, I mean Rico Dowdle might be the guy.
He's
in
not.
The future.
The fact that they lowballed Derrick Henry was a big mistake.
Yeah.
Because the effect he's had on the Ravens.
I mean, if they have him right now, they might have 3-4 more wins.
Yeah, I mean they have a cornerstone player on defense. Even though he yaps a lot, but he is a great player.
Maybe the best receiver.
Best receiver in the league. And say what you want about the quarterback, they've made it to the playoffs multiple times with him. So they need a guy that's gonna develop the run game a bit.
Yeah.
And the secondary needs a lot of help.
I mean, with the Cowboys, they're always going to have a talented roster, no matter what. It's just, honestly, it might be the coaching.
I think Ashton Genty is a guy to watch in the draft for them.
He could be nasty.
He would be nasty with them. So that's a guy I would watch, but they're in a weird place. I legit do not know if they're going to move on from McCarthy. Because if they finish 8 and 9, like which would be respectable considering they had Cooper Rush.
I mean, I think coaches that are like established and respected are kind of hard to find now. So I think you kind of have to keep them.
Exactly. So,
unless you can get
I think of Vrabel, the guy that
I don't think he would.
He doesn't fit. He doesn't fit with a Jerry Jones type franchise. So we don't really need to talk much more about the Cowboys. They need to get healthy, and we'll see what they do next.
All right, moving on. What happened to the Chargers this week?
I think it's more about the Buccaneers are getting healthy, and they're dangerous.
The Chargers didn't score like after the first quarter.
Let me tell you something. When Quentin Johnson is your wide receiver X on the outside.
Hey, Lad McConkey might be.
He's a great slot guy, but he's not a guy that.
He's a tiny little receiver.
He's a tiny little receiver, but they need a guy on the outside.
Herbert. Did Herbert get hurt that game?
I think they took him out.
I think he came in through one pass. Herbert was 21 for 39, 195, 2 touchdowns.
They have trouble pushing the ball down the field, and Dobbins got hurt, who was having a good year for them.
I mean, everyone saw that
coming. The concerning thing is their defense got lit up, and they've been one of the best defenses in football. So I don't know. I think that this is a team they're gonna go after like a T. Higgins or some guy on the outside in the offseason. But I think he'd be a good.
He would fit.
He'd be a good fit for them.
He would fit perfectly on the Chargers.
But right now, I don't think they're a threat in the AFC. I think Harbaugh's done a great job overall. But
they were before this game.
But you saw like they don't have the offensive firepower.
Yeah.
Right now.
Because if Herbert's not like diming 4 touchdowns, going off, carrying them every game, they're gonna score 17 points.
Right.
They don't have. I mean, they signed the 2 most injury-prone running backs in the NFL. I mean, what did they expect was going to happen?
I don't know. I mean, they looked bad. In that game against Kansas City, they should have won that game too.
The Buccaneers, I mean, 8-6 right now.
They're dangerous. They've beaten the top 2 seed.
I can see a repeat of last season.
They've beaten the top 2 teams in the NFC.
Yeah.
So if they get healthy, if Mike Evans is healthy, the run game is so much better this season with Bucky Irving.
Bucky Irving is running.
And their defense isn't maybe as talented, but they play well enough to win games.
I mean, look what they did with the Chargers.
Exactly. So
17 points.
They're dangerous. Like if they're gonna probably host a playoff game, considering how bad their division is.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I don't even. Let me look at that division right now.
I mean, the Falcons I think are 1 game back, but I don't think the Falcons are a threat right now.
Yeah, we'll get to them in a little bit. Yeah, right now they're first place. They're probably gonna make the playoffs. Who would they play right now?
Like Minnesota or Green Bay.
Yeah,
one of those teams. I mean, that's
those
an
are good
interesting
games.
game. Those are good games. Yeah, I don't really know. I think Baker's having a phenomenal season though. Yeah. I'm really happy for him.
Yeah, he found a home.
And he's like, they give him so much freedom. Mm-hmm. Like they don't care if he throws 3 picks. Like they just let him air it out, which I like a lot.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they could make I could see them winning a playoff game. I don't think anything beyond that.
Yeah, they've had to, like, if Chris Godwin was healthy.
They're not a complete enough team to really make it.
They're just their defense. Yeah. Their secondary.
They match up really well against some teams, but
they're a tough out, but they're not a team that's gonna make a run, I think.
Alright, let's move on. Let's see who's next. Colts Broncos.
Oh, this was an interesting one.
It was. The Colts are pretty much, I mean,
listen, man. People loved him out of the draft. People loved him despite only playing 4 games last year. I've never seen it with Anthony Richardson. He is so inaccurate.
Yeah.
And I know he has talent. I know he has arm strength. I know he can run, but like his passer rating is atrocious.
Let's see, what is it?
He's the most inaccurate quarterback in the league.
He is 47% completion of the year.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
And
7 touchdowns, 11 picks. It's all because he obviously is really talented.
And the problem with that, their team is talented enough to make the playoffs.
He's a physical specimen. He can run and air it out like nobody else, but he hasn't found it yet. And I don't know if he ever will at this point.
That's what I'm saying. And I just think that he's kind of like, we don't need to talk about Will Levis, but they're kind of similar. Like they have physical gifts, but they're just so inaccurate and make such bad decisions.
Is that a coaching thing though?
I think they have a good coach. I think Steichen is a good coach. I mean, you saw what he did with Gardner Minshew last year. Yeah. I just think that they need a much more of a fair weathered quarterback there. Like they cannot have a guy that's just gonna.
I mean, let's see. A-Rich was 1738, 172, 2 picks. JT is the same.
But the point is, if they didn't turn the ball over, they would have won that game because their defense was playing lights out.
Yeah. I mean, JT is still the same JT as he was.
He cost them the game.
Yeah, that.
But I mean, he's their best player, but he cost them the game.
That happened 2 or 3 times that same day.
It's crazy.
I mean, I'm not going to get into that. But
you black out when you're going to the end zone.
Yeah. I mean, Pittman obviously.
He's been disappointing. He has not had a good year.
He's coming off a.
I've never looked at him as
a number.
Hurt? I think he was. I've never looked at him as a number 1 receiver.
I think Downs is a little better than him.
Downs is good.
But he's been up and down.
He's been up and downs. Yeah. But that's the problem. Like, they have talent, but you don't know how good they are because they don't have a quarterback that can actually throw them the ball.
Yeah, they don't have. I mean, their defense is just their defense. It's the same as it's been the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, it's solid.
It's serviceable.
They're good. They could be a wild card team. Yeah. They could have competed for the division this year if they had a serviceable quarterback.
Josh Downs says he played a play on defense. Don't know what that's.
Maybe for a Hail Mary.
He might have.
Throw him out of cornerback.
But yeah, the Broncos, they're a good team.
They're a good team. I mean, if their secondary stays healthy, I mean, they might have the defensive player of the year. Surtain is so good.
Yeah.
Bo Nix had a bad game, but I think for the most part he's played well this season.
Yeah, he still had 3 touchdowns.
He had 3 touchdowns. The problem with this team is they do not run the ball well.
They don't have a good running back.
They don't have a good running. Javonte Williams has not been he hasn't been the same since his ACL injury.
Cortland Sutton's a monster,
but he's not.
You can't rely on him.
I don't think he's the same as Pittman. I just don't see him as a number 1 guy.
You can't rely on him like that.
But he's had a great year. But I don't know. I think they'll make the playoffs. I think they'll be a 7 or 6 seed, and
I could see them getting Judy.
But bringing him back. I don't think he's gonna want to.
Bringing him back. I mean, was he with Sean Payton?
Yeah, he didn't. I mean, to be fair,
because I don't think
Russell Wilson was.
He didn't have the issues with Sean Payton. I don't think.
No,
his issues were more with it might have been he would fit so well.
The problem is Russell Wilson did not throw the ball well.
Sean Payton had a vendetta against Russell Wilson. Yeah, he didn't like it.
I think he would actually fit well with Bo Nix, which is sad because
he would fit perfectly with Bo Nix.
I mean, you see what he's doing with Jameis Winston.
Because they could have just kept.
They run a lot of quick slants and a lot of dig routes that he would be really good with.
Yeah, I mean, if Judy looks like that with famous Jameis.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I have no problem bringing him back. I just they definitely need to upgrade the receiver room this offseason. But for now, I think the defensive line is good. Nick Bonito is a great player. He might win defensive player of the year too.
He's good. He had a pick 6.
I think he had another pick 6.
Yeah.
And they have in my opinion, the best secondary in football. They need to stay healthy. Their backup cornerback.
Surtain was available. I remember he was like a free agent deep into a year,
Yeah.
a few seasons ago, and I was just begging for the 49ers.
They offered it. They wanted him, but the
Yeah.
Broncos said no.
And it's like
That he's a game changer.
they
He's
thought
so
he
good.
was like finished a few seasons. Like they were like, yeah, he's okay.
Well, because they thought the Broncos would go full
Yeah.
rebuild.
Yeah.
But their defense will keep them in a lot of games.
Little
but
Jordan, he's a good
Little
player too.
Jordan Humphrey, he has a lot of drops, but he'll have a big play every now and then.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, the Broncos are a playoff team.
They're a playoff team. They're not much more, I think, this season than
Yeah.
just a playoff team, but I think they'll lose a close game in round 1.
Yeah.
I think they'll keep it close, but I don't think they have the talent yet to make a deep run.
All right, Cardinals Patriots. I mean, we can brush through.
We can brush through this one. I mean, the
Cardinals won.
We needed the win. The Cardinals needed the win.
They're okay.
They blew their season by losing 2 games to Seattle.
I don't know if they're gonna win the NFC West at this point.
I mean, listen, in a vacuum, like right now, it's disappointing considering where they were a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But if you look
compared to the last few seasons,
if you look at it from the outside, like they were 4-13 last year. They didn't have much talent coming into this year. Their defense has improved. Kyler's been okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we can debate whether he's still their guy.
He is.
I think he's played well
You
enough.
don't replace him.
I think they've committed to the run. I think.
Mhm.
Listen, if the issue is just briefly, the issue is Marvin Harrison just has not been as effective.
He had not at all.
And he's good. I still think he's good. I just don't
Yeah.
think he's not being used right. Like,
What does he have, like 300-400 yards on the season right now?
yeah, they need to devote the offseason.
I don't know if it's a problem of not using him.
I think
or
they're such a run heavy.
Yeah.
They're such a run first offense, which I didn't expect. I did not expect them to be this run heavy.
Well, James Conner, he's good. He's underrated.
He's underrated back, and they have another Benson they drafted as a good back.
Yeah.
So I think they're moving in the right direction. Disappointed that I did not see them losing 2 games to Seattle because I don't think Seattle is that good.
Seattle's such a weird team.
They're such a weird team. We'll talk about them, but yeah, Patriots. I think Drake May's their guy. They just have no talent right now.
Yeah, I don't think that coach.
I don't think the coach is good. They have Christian Gonzalez is a good cornerback.
Yeah, they don't have any receivers.
They're another team that I could see trying to get T. Higgins in the offseason.
Yeah, Ramondre is.
Hey,
Ramondre could be a starter.
They tried to get your guy Ayuk.
They did. I remember that. Yeah,
they offered him $33 million a year. He didn't want to go there.
I mean, I don't know.
If they could build the receiving core, I think Drake May is a good quarterback. But
there's just a lot to do with that team right now.
Exactly.
There's a lot to do. I mean, they're in a rebuild.
But the only concern is I don't know if they have the right coach moving forward.
Yeah, the defense is honestly, it's okay.
It's okay. I just like for a young quarterback, I like having an offensive-minded coach.
Yeah.
To pair
Jerome
with.
Mayo's not.
And Jerome Mayo's just not that guy. But yeah, Drake May's look good for the most part. So there's some good things.
All right. Bills Lions.
I mean, Josh Allen. I've loved him.
That game went how everyone hoped it would go.
I've loved Josh Allen for so many years now. He's awesome.
He's MVP this
year.
He's
the MVP. Yeah. I don't even know what the storyline for this game is because it was so high scoring.
The Bills were dominant. It was like a blowout.
But it was the Bills looked the same that they did last week. It's just that game. It's the same exact game. It's just that they won.
They won.
I'm concerned that the Bills' defense is just not good enough to face elite offense.
And the receivers might be a problem.
Yeah.
Not having a guy.
I mean, I think it's good that he doesn't worry about forcing the ball to Stephon Diggs anymore.
Yeah,
but I still do think
you want a guy like that
against a good defense, he needs a number one.
I don't think. I mean, Ty Johnson 5 for 114.
Well, it's because the Detroit's linebacker room is decimated with injuries, so they just had a lot of running backs that could get open. But I mean, Josh Allen's the MVP. He's been awesome. I think that there's been times this year that you're like.
They don't have a running back. They don't. I mean, James Cook obviously, but he's not.
He's like a guy that'll get a 50-yard touchdown, but he's not a consistently good running.
He's not you can't hand it to him 25 times.
I worry that their defense is not good enough to win a championship.
Yeah.
But he's
It's
Josh
sad.
Allen.
It's so
Josh Allen
sad
is
the
so good,
Bills.
and it's sad that he may not win a championship
It's
this year.
sad that the Bills are just
And
never
he's
going to be able
I mean,
to figure it
he's
out.
doing this with Matt Collins, Khalil
Mhm.
Shakir, Keon Coleman,
Mhm.
Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid. Like, he's not doing it with.
And I still think, I mean, call me crazy, I think the Lions are still the better team.
I just think they're decimated with injuries.
Yeah. If their defense gets healthy again, they get Gibbs back.
I mean, well,
Oh no, not Gibbs.
Montgomery's hurt.
Was it
Montgomery's
Gibbs or
out.
Montgomery that got it? Was
Montgomery's out for the
Yeah.
year.
That's gonna hurt them.
That's gonna hurt him.
That's
and
gonna
then
really hurt them.
Their secondary's beat up. Their linebackers are beat up. Their pass rush is beat up.
Obviously, the receiving core is fine.
I still believe in them.
Yeah.
I think people are overreacting a bit to the game.
Yeah.
I think it was just Josh Allen. Like, when Josh Allen's locked in,
Yeah.
he's unguardable.
Because it's been the last 5 weeks with Josh Allen.
He's locked in. He's just locked in.
Had like
No
4
one's
touchdowns. every
no one's
game.
been able to defend him the last
Yeah.
5 weeks. So
He's running through everybody.
So I'm not as concerned. They do need the 1 seed in my opinion.
Yeah.
They need
do.
that extra
They need a
week.
break.
They need that extra week of rest. So they,
100%.
which means they need to win out, which they can.
Yeah, Goff. I mean, there's
Goff
nothing wrong with
played
Goff.
great. I mean, Goff's not the issue.
He
played
looked
great.
like he was mobile that game too.
He played great, and
I am concerned of the injuries.
I mean, Goff threw 60 passes, but
I mean that's usually that's not their formula.
that's
to
a
win.
Dan Campbell.
But
It's a Dan Campbell Freudian
yeah, and I didn't even mind. Everyone's going crazy about the onside kick. I didn't even mind it, considering
Yeah.
Josh Allen was not gonna
That's
get off the field.
That's Dan Campbell.
It was a good onside
Yeah,
kick too.
That's
The guy
Dan
the guy made a good play. But yeah,
But the new onside kicks makes it
I
pretty much
hate it.
impossible
I hate it,
to
yeah.
recover one.
especially like, and that one was a good one.
Yeah.
like that
Last season that would have been recovered.
Yeah, so
Nice light going off and on.
yeah, I'm not too worried. I think they'll be all right, but
Honestly, like
they just need to get the 1 seed.
Yeah.
Get a week of rest and lock in for the playoffs.
yeah. All right, let's move on to the Steagles game.
This is tough because
Steelers are just, I don't know what to say about them.
listen, I'm a Broncos guy, so watching Russell Wilson the last few years.
I watched the Hard Knocks too. It made me want
Yeah.
to root for them so badly.
Mike Tomlin's a great coach.
He
They have
is.
a great coach.
Yeah.
But I think this game is the classic example of why they're going to end up losing
Yeah,
in
they
the
played
playoffs.
a tough, hard defense.
They may win a game in the playoffs, but
Yeah.
if they play the Chiefs or the
Yeah.
Bills or even like
An established defense.
an established defense where their offense can't get going,
The run game can't get
the
going.
run game can't get going, I just have a hard time. They don't have enough firepower
Mm-hmm.
to overcome that.
Najee's such a weird running back.
I've never liked Najee.
I don't understand.
I've
it.
never liked him. He's a good and
I don't know if he's just not giving 100% effort. If they're
tough
not,
yardage he's not bad in,
Yeah.
but like I've never been a guy that like I think they need to use Jalen Warren.
I mean, he's had
Good
1,000 yards like every season.
But it's a
of his
very
career.
it's a fraudulent
empty
it's
1,000.
an empty calorie 1,000 yards. I don't know. I think that I mean to be fair, George Pickens was out.
They still have Cordero Patterson too. I forgot about that guy.
He's good. They should use him more. George Pickens was out. I'll say that.
Yeah,
He's a good receiver.
I
But
mean, that's pretty much the only.
that's their
guy
only
Russell
option.
throws to.
That's their only option. I know they wanted your boy Ayuk.
Yeah,
or
he would have been nice.
He would have
on
been
that
nice.
team.
Um,
Honestly, we should have done it.
Yeah, I don't know. Their defense, if TJ Watt's out the rest of the year, which I don't know if he is, but if he is
It's
injured,
gonna hurt
that's gonna hurt.
because he would have put some pressure.
But yeah,
on us.
they're one of these. I mean, we've said it about a lot of teams. They're just a team that I just don't see as an actual Super Bowl contender.
But like they could
But they're good enough to
if
win.
they
a playoff
won
game.
like 2 games, I'd be like, all right, yeah,
Yeah.
that's.
I mean, they're gonna if they win the division.
I could like I would be like I wouldn't be surprised either way.
like if they host Baltimore in a playoff game.
Yeah.
I'm
They could
favoring
win,
them
yeah.
because Tomlin knows how to coach against
Yeah.
against them.
And the Eagles, I mean, they're back.
They're such a weird story considering how
5-0.
horrific they ended last year
Yeah.
to where they are now.
5-0 after Sirianni shaved his head.
Yeah, I don't know.
Saquon's the best running back
best
in the
running back
history
in
of the
football.
football league.
And AJ, like they have such great receivers that they don't even use. They used them
Yeah.
last game.
I mean, they had 220 combined,
Yeah.
Smitty and AJ.
They're such a deep team defensively. They're so good.
They have talent. They're the most.
Cooper DeJean.
Oh my god! See, the Eagles they're the most
They
talented football
draft
team in
so
the league.
well. They have the best GM in football.
Yeah.
He always gets great talent for
There's
them.
nothing bad. You can't point to one thing. and
The
say it's
only
bad.
thing is coaching.
And he's proven that.
And I think, and I haven't
figured it out.
I haven't been a Sirianni hater. I actually think he's fine.
I don't like the guy.
I mean, I don't love him, but I think the hate he gets is kind of overrated because they've
mostly
been
from Eagles fans.
Yeah, they've been good every year he's been there. So
yeah,
I mean,
Super Bowl
they're a threat. I think it'll end up being them in Detroit in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, and Hurts he's established himself.
He's good.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with him.
Right with the way they're playing right now.
Yeah.
They have no weaknesses.
No weaknesses.
No weaknesses.
Best offensive line in football. Best running back in football.
Arguably the best receiving core.
Best receiving core in football.
Best
one of the best defenses.
One of the best secondaries in football. I mean, like they're loaded right now. Yeah. So if they can't get it done this year, I don't know when they'll get it.
And
done.
their contracts are like they're not really paying anybody.
Everyone's locked down for like multiple years, so they're in a great place. Yeah. But they need to. They're
the team in the NFC right now.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. Eagles. All right. Packers Seahawks. This is a playoff matchup maybe.
Packers are the most underrated team in football right now. Now listen, I don't know how you feel about Jordan Love. I've never been a Jordan Love guy. I thought he played great in that playoff game last year.
It's tough to analyze him because like he's been good, but like what has he done?
And I've given him a bit of a leash considering I think he has a very young team around him.
I mean, he almost beat the Niners last year.
And then he threw one of the worst picks.
He threw a Favre pass.
He threw a Favre pass. But I'm starting to believe. I'm only starting to believe because I believe in the team around him now. I thought they have a great run game with Jacobs. Mm-hmm. The defense was horrible last year, and they're really good this year. LaFleur's a great coach. So I think the fact that they're a quiet, like, 10-4 team right now, or whatever the record
They're another team that desperately needs a receiver.
I just don't think their receiving core is good enough right now. I agree.
It's not.
Like, I understand what
there's
they're trying to do.
There's not one
Christian Watson is a boomer bust
But, like, the first half of the season, he didn't even catch a pass.
Exactly. He's a guy, though, he'll catch a 60-yard pass and do nothing the rest of the game.
Jacobs, I think, pushed them over the edge.
That's their main guy.
Yeah.
But
he looks really good.
If Jordan Love doesn't turn the ball over, they play decent defense and they run the ball well, they're a tough team to beat.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they're a team that could, I mean, if they're the 5 or the 6 seed, I mean, we talked about it, how the Rams and the Bucks.
They could definitely
but they could beat both those teams.
Yeah.
And they could, I mean, they've played Detroit twice. I know Detroit's had their number, but they could give them a lot of problems.
I don't like their odds against Detroit.
I don't like
Detroit
that's
beats
true.
them down.
Philadelphia is another team. They're again,
they're like a tier 2.
Are they good enough to beat those two teams? No, I don't know if they are.
They're not.
But
next season, if they get a receiver,
they need a number 1 guy.
Yeah, because their defense.
I think this receiver by committee, they have I think it's 5 guys under the age of 24. Mm-hmm. It's worked in small doses, but he needs a guy consistently that he can rely on.
Yeah, and then the Seahawks, I think this game pretty much is going to be the spiral.
I've never been a Seahawks guy.
You can't operate with Geno.
I've never been a Geno Smith guy, so I'm not saying this just because I'm biased, but I just think that they were the most fraudulent 8-5, whatever they were. Their defense, they're just mid. They're the definition of mid. Mm-hmm. Their defense isn't bad.
Jackson Smith-Njigba is really
he's their best. He's the biggest bright spot for them.
Yeah,
he's been because he wasn't very good last year.
No, he wasn't.
And
they just started throwing to him. Catching him.
But DK is not always healthy. He's
but he draws a lot of.
But he does draw. He's a good guy to have on the outside. Yeah. Kenneth Walker needs to be healthy. I
think they need to upgrade the running back.
They need to upgrade the quarterback in my opinion. I mean, I know Sam Howell is not an option.
Did they draft the guy in the 2nd or 3rd round?
No, I don't think. I think Sam Howell is their best.
You think Sam Howell?
No, I don't. That's who they have.
Besides but in the draft.
In the draft.
Do you think they take a guy?
I don't know.
I mean, because
if they win the division, like how can you?
Exactly.
But I don't think to be fair, I think the Rams are gonna run away with it.
They are.
But I don't know. They're kind of like the Saints. They're a better version of the Saints.
Yeah.
Like they have this quarterback they're kind of locked into.
They're kind of the Saints if Carr was healthy.
Yeah, exactly. Like they maybe they're a little better, but that's about it. Like they have some good talent around them, but they're just not great.
Yeah.
They have a decent coach, but he's not great. Like
he looks like an egg.
He looks like an egg. Like there's no way that guy walks into a locker room and demands respect.
he looks like it's first time he's ever walked on a football
Exactly,
field. Every time he
exactly.
goes out
So,
there.
you know, I think that I think that they're a team that I don't believe they're going to make the playoffs, and I think they have some question marks.
Yeah,
I really do.
It's how they've been.
Like Geno hasn't been horrible this year, but he's not their franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
And it'd be one thing if they're consistently making the playoffs, but I don't think they're.
I mean, if you're the coach, if you're the GM, you're not too upset because they're still they're proving they can win.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
This
and
shit team.
they've been 9-8 the last 2 seasons, and they're probably going to finish 9-8 this season.
Yeah.
So, like
they're saying, if they have like a solid guy at quarterback, they could be.
And if Jackson Smith and Jigba is their number one guy, and you still have DK, like the receiving room isn't bad.
The receiving room is good.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that there's a lot of positives, and maybe I'm overreacting to one game, but I just thought that it just showed where they were at. They're not better than the Packers.
Yeah.
Like I think they play the Vikings next week. They're not. They're probably going to lose that game.
Yeah.
You know, I think they're going to limp to the finish.
But I can honestly see them winning. Like, you don't know what
they win weird games. Like
Yeah.
I thought. Listen, maybe I overvalued the Cardinals. I thought there's no way they beat the Cardinals twice, and they destroyed them twice.
They beat the Niners.
That was a weird game.
Yeah.
But they beat the Niners. So I don't know.
Right. Bears, Vikings.
Hard to watch.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams. I think he's
we don't have
talented.
to spend too much time on them.
Caleb Williams is talented.
The Vikings are not. I don't think they're as good as their record shows.
They're not as good as their record
that.
shows.
Yeah.
Their defense is very good. They have a great defense.
Brian
Flores has done a great
nasty
job.
schemes.
Nasty schemes.
I mean, they don't. Aaron Jones is good.
They have the best receiver in football.
Yeah, JJ.
They have possibly one of the best number 2 receivers in football.
Yeah. I could see Addison leaving, asking for a big contract.
Yeah.
If they don't do well in the playoffs.
Right.
Because of Darnold.
Hawkinson is a great tight end. There's a lot to like. I don't
think Darnold's
a
playoff quarterback.
They don't have a quarterback that I 100% believe in.
Because he always just reverts back to Sam Darnold of the Jets, and Sam Darnold is the backup. And
I can see him throwing 3 in a road game.
You can tell he gets shaky.
He's gonna throw some ducks. He's gonna throw some ducks.
When it gets hard, he gets nervous.
But listen, you can't deny that. What are they? 12-2.
They've had O'Connell is a
coach of the year.
Amazing.
He's the coach of the year.
Yeah, SDSU legend, by the way.
SDSU legend.
Yeah.
So, I think as for the Bears,
Bears are in a rough spot.
Let me tell you something. This is the worst offensive scheme I've seen in my life.
Who is their coach right now?
I don't know.
I don't know who
Thomas
their coach
Brown. I think his name's Thomas Brown.
Yeah, that's gonna have to change.
They made a monumental error by not moving on from Eberflus.
They should have kept them. Yeah.
Hiring the guy they ended up firing, Waldron. The worst offensive scheme I've ever seen, and they need a quarterback coach that's gonna coach Caleb.
Because Caleb looks good. Caleb doesn't look like a bust.
He does, but he's talented, but.
He looks like he's trying to figure it all out himself.
He's playing lottery ball.
Yeah.
Like he's always looking for a play that's going to go 30 yards.
He looks like the coaches don't just let him do everything he wants, and he's trying to figure it out, and you can't do that with a rookie.
Exactly.
You do that with a veteran quarterback who knows what they're doing. Caleb doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, DJ Moore.
He's good. Yeah.
He's good, but he looks checked out right now.
Yeah. Keenan, he's not gonna.
I didn't think Rome, the guy they drafted. I know he's talented.
Good.
I actually thought Brian. I'm not just saying this now. I thought Brian Thomas was a better receiver.
Yeah.
I think he has elite speed.
I think Rome can be good though.
Rome can be good. Rome just doesn't do anything that excites me. That's his Rome. His size is decent, but it's not like.
They need to match it. They can't match him with Keenan Allen. He's the same receiver.
That's what I'm saying. That's what made no sense. Why would they draft another slot guy? Why would they draft another slot guy when they already have Keenan Allen?
Yeah, they should have drafted Worthy.
And DJ Moore is
he's not that fast.
No more than 6 feet. Yeah. Like they needed a tall guy on the outside.
Yeah.
So if they need to commit to the run.
I mean, obviously they're done this season.
The O-line has been atrocious.
Yeah,
the defense is still talented, but they just need a.
They're the Bears.
They just need a competent coach.
They're the Bears.
They're the Bears.
Yeah, they're gonna have a good defense always.
Yeah.
They can't figure out the quarterback situation.
Mm-hmm.
All right, whatever. Moving on from then, Falcons Raiders.
Worst game. I mean, I didn't really watch it.
The Monday night slates were a mistake. They were a mistake.
The doubleheader from hell. That's what this was.
The double.
It was terrible.
Yeah,
it was terrible. To be fair, Desmond Ridder almost won that game. I watched the end of that game.
He might be a good quarterback.
He's the revenge game. I forgot.
Yeah, he was drafted. Yeah,
the Desmond Ridder game. I thought he was going to be titled the Desmond Ridder game.
15-9. Yeah.
Cousins looks bad, man. Like, I know they won, but he just there's the velocity.
I don't know what happened to him.
The velocity on his passes.
I think he just got tired.
I think it is. And they have like we've been saying this about this team for ages.
They have an insane offense.
Drake London is a great receiver.
They have
Darnell Mooney is a great number 2 receiver. Kyle Pitts is a great tight end.
Bijan could be the best running back in the league.
Yeah, but we've forgotten about it. Like
Kyle Pitts is
when Bijan got drafted a year ago, we were saying this is the greatest running back prospect of all time, and now we've just forgotten about him.
Yeah, 22 for 125 that game too.
But it was a quiet 125. It's not he's not impacting the game.
No touchdowns.
Yeah, so I mean, and the defense is fine. They're mid. It's
not good enough, though.
It's not good enough. I think
they're not going to make the playoffs.
They're not going to make the playoffs because the Bucks are coming on.
And that's a really bad because they were trying really hard to make the playoffs.
And that Kirk Cousins contract makes no sense in hindsight.
They don't have really room to grow.
If the rumors are true and they just let go of him, they would have paid him $90 million for this 1 year.
Like, there's not really anywhere. Because, I mean, they could get better with this team, but there's nowhere to grow financially.
The question is Penix the guy? That's the question.
I mean, if he was, I think he would have been
I think he's another Tua.
I think he would have been playing by now if they saw that he had that.
Exactly.
But I don't think he doesn't.
I don't know. I'm not a guy that's going to believe in him. And I think they made too, like, them not hiring Belichick this offseason and going for another defensive guy who has been a coach and has failed multiple times. I just think they made too many mistakes in the offseason, and they're gonna squander great talent.
Yeah, they have some of the most talented offense.
And we're never gonna know we're never gonna know if Drake London is a true
Kyle Pitts. He could be a Tony Gonzalez tight end.
With Matt Ryan, his rookie year, he had 1,000 yards.
He's fast, huge, can catch.
They don't have a good offensive line.
They don't.
Raiders.
Yes.
They need a quarterback.
Shador. I mean, I would love to see Shador
in Vegas. Yeah. They just have no talent. Like Brock Bowers, they have a generational tight end.
He could be the best tight end in the league.
But besides that,
not much to talk about.
Not much to talk about.
2-12.
Not much to talk about.
Definitely need to make a coaching change.
Hopefully they get the 1 seed.
That guy's not a coach. Pierce, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I like him.
He's a good. I like him too, but especially if they're gonna draft Shador, they need an offense.
Yeah, I like that he's a Raider at heart, but he's not the guy.
No, the mind isn't there. The heart is there. The mind isn't there.
Keep him around as a coordinator.
Yeah, why not? It's the motivator.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all the games from last week. I mean, do you want to move on to we spent a lot of time on it. Do you want to move on to the games next week?
Yeah, sure.
All right. I mean, we could just go through it quickly, say what we think.
Do you want to just go through the lines?
Yeah. That's what I was gonna. All right, so we got. Actually, I'm gonna go to the bathroom quick.
Okay.
I mean, you can stop the video.
Yeah. This is kind of the end of the first
How
section.
long was it? Solid slate of games.
Yeah.
A lot of playoff implications here. So let's start with Broncos Chargers.
Oh,
Chargers.
I'm going to this game.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh shoot! Chargers -3. What do you think about that?
This is an interesting game.
I don't like that line.
I don't like that line at all. I think a lot of it is because they beat the Broncos earlier this season, but Surtain was out that game. I remember.
And the Chargers last week looked.
This is a massive game because the winner of this game is locked in for the playoffs, and the loser. I mean, the loser will probably be the 7th seed, which is a big deal because that means they'll probably have to play Buffalo in the first round. So this is a massive game.
I'm taking Broncos.
I'm taking Broncos.
Yeah.
If you're giving me 3 points for the Broncos, I'm taking Broncos. It's going to be a close game, divisional game. I think Bo Nix, he had a bad week this week, but I think he'll play really well on Thursday. And the Chargers they're vulnerable right now. Yeah. So I like Broncos. with 3 points.
Yeah,
I think that's a no-brainer.
All right, Texans, Chiefs. I mean, obviously,
this all depends on if Mahomes plays.
Texans -2. I don't think he's playing. I would hammer Texans if they're -2 right now.
I think that pass rush is gonna be.
They're gonna eat Mahomes, or they're gonna eat Wentz alive.
They're gonna eat Wentz alive.
Yeah.
As much as I love Carson Wentz, I just don't think I think
he hasn't played in a few seasons.
And I think Wentz has always struggled with a bad receiver.
Yeah.
So unless D-Hop turns back the clock, which he hasn't really.
Because Mahomes just knows how to use what he has.
He knows knows to go to the check down. That's something Wentz has always struggled with.
Yeah.
He loves the hero ball.
And he can't run like he used to.
And I think the Texans, this is a big game for them.
Yeah.
Because they need to have the confidence going into the playoffs.
Beating the Chiefs is a big deal, even if Mahomes is out.
100%. So, yeah, I think the Texans...
Hammer Texans,
yeah.
All right, Steelers, Ravens. Ravens -6. That's a big...
Ravens are favored -6?
Yeah.
That is crazy. Okay, this is a no-brainer.
I mean, Steelers are going into Baltimore,
but these games are always...
The Steelers need a win. They're locked in. Is Pickens back this week?
I think he'll be back in.
Yeah,
but these games are, no matter how good or bad the teams are, these games are always
even.
close.
It should be even.
I think it's because the Ravens are at home, but
I'm taking Steelers.
I'm taking Steelers, and I think I might take Steelers money, straight up money line. Mike Tomlin knows how to coach against Harbaugh.
Yeah. All right, Browns, Bengals. I mean, the Bengals -7.
Weird game.
The Browns could win that game though.
Weird game. It's in Cincinnati though. I would take. I think the Bengals do win this game.
Any AFC North line should be even
I agree.
Game.
Yeah, if you give the Browns who are they starting? I mean,
DTR. I think.
I mean, anyone could light up that defense, I guess. Judy. Judy's gonna have a field day.
I would take Judy over
on whatever
his line is.
Against Mike Hilton
and Jamar Chase is over. I would take.
I like the Bengals though.
Yeah.
I don't.
That's a good. Yeah,
the
Bengals
line.
Are gonna win.
The line of -7.
That's a big line.
That's a big line.
Because I don't know if
But the Bengals could also have just a perfect offensive game, so they're at home. So I think the Bengals win it by 2 scores. It'll be a lot closer than the score.
AFC North games, honestly, you want to.
But yeah, I do like the Bengals to win this game by 10 points. So yeah.
Cardinals -4 against the Panthers.
I think that's
a pretty low line, honestly.
Yeah,
I would take the spread on Panthers.
Yeah. Oh really? Yeah, it's a tough game. I mean, the Cardinals need it badly if they want any chance.
-4 is low though.
They played well. I thought this previous game, I thought the Patriots could have made the game closer than it was. So yeah, I think Bryce Young could have a bounce back game. I think
I'm still taking Cardinals though.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals. Yeah. I think their pass rush is gonna eat Bryce Young alive.
The Cardinals have to win too.
You have to win. But what's the spread?
It's -4 Cardinals.
So you're taking Cardinals -4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Titans Colts -4-5. That's a
game.
Weird,
the Titans might win this game.
That's a game I would not bet on.
I would not bet on this game at all.
I would probably take Colts still because they're a better team.
Please let it be Will Levis versus Anthony Richardson.
Please. I don't know if they're going to start Levis.
I'm starting both defenses. If you have any defenses on fantasy, I'm starting both of these.
Yeah. It's going to be a pick show.
It will be a pick show. So, yeah, I would not bet on this game. But the Colts will win.
Yeah.
By how much? I don't know. If they might win by only a field goal. Mm-hmm. So.
This next one is Eagles Commanders. Eagles only 3.5.
Really? And it's in Washington.
It's in Washington.
Commanders have been good the last 2 weeks, but I just...
-3.5 though.
The Eagles are due for a loss. I think they are.
-3.5 is low though.
Yeah,
the Eagles are clearly better.
I think the Commanders get this one. In a weird way, I think they make it really close.
That's a tough divisional game too. Rivals.
3-point game, overtime. I think it's going to be really down to the wire.
Yeah, I might take Commanders there.
I'm taking Commanders.
Yeah. Giants, Falcons. Falcons -10.
Another game I'm not watching.
Falcons are -10 to win that game.
I'm taking Giants.
Yeah, I might take the Giants.
As bad as the Giants are, the Giants have almost beaten the Saints a few weeks ago. Saints are kind of the same level right now as the Falcons, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I'm taking the points with the Giants. I think the Falcons' offense is just so unreliable.
Minus 10 is insane
Yeah,
for the Falcons.
they're not worthy.
They
of
haven't
10.
shown they
They're
can
not
do
worthy
that.
of 10 points.
Yeah.
So yeah.
They beat the Raiders by 6.
Yeah.
All right, Lions minus 6-5 against the Bears. I would take Lions maybe minus 13, 14 for that.
I think the Bears' offense is just so bad.
Yeah.
Despite the Lions' injuries, I think Dan Campbell's going to motivate them.
Yeah.
They're going to be locked in.
Yeah.
Because they need this game.
There's no chance they lose that game.
I think the Lions win by multiple touchdowns.
Yeah.
I think they have a comfortable victory.
Exactly. I mean, it is in Chicago, but not that means anything. The fans aren't going to
they could play that game wherever. The Bears' offense.
They could play that game in Tuscaloosa.
They could play that game in a Pee-wee league. Caleb Williams is still going to get sacked 30 times.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, we're taking Lions there, obviously. Rams minus 3-5 against the Jets. That could be an interesting game.
This is the most interesting
because of Rodgers. Rodgers doesn't want to lose to.
He doesn't want to lose. The Rams will win this game, but it's going to be dangerously close.
3-5 is a nice line.
3-5 is a nice line.
I would probably take Rams there.
I'd take the Rams, but this is a close game.
It's going to be a close game.
This is a close game.
All right. Vikings only minus 3 against the Seahawks.
I'm taking Vikings.
Yeah.
And Gino might not even play.
Oh, that's a good
Sam
point.
Howell.
Yeah.
You want to see a few interceptions?
I forgot about
Watch a Sam Howell game.
The Vikings might win by more than that.
Viking, man, I can't listen. We both agree that they're maybe not a true Super Bowl contender, but you can't deny that. Yeah, they're better.
The defense is gonna just eat against.
They have Seahawks have a terrible offensive line. They're gonna eat them alive.
Niners, Dolphins. Dolphins minus 1-5. That
and
I would stay away.
Weird game. This is a weird game.
I would stay away from that game.
I would stay away from that game.
The Niners have beaten them the last couple times they played them.
Okay.
Because McDaniel is a Shanahan product, and I think Shanahan knows
that is true
how to beat him. But
I think Brock Purdy has a bounce back game.
Yeah,
I'm taking the Niners.
The defense isn't great without Flores.
Yeah, I'm taking the Niners, but I wouldn't bet on this game.
Yeah, I would say.
I think Purdy plays well this game.
I'm taking the Niners. Bills minus 14 against the Patriots. I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing to say.
There's nothing to say. I'm debating whether the offense has not a letdown game, but a little bit of they take their foot off the gas a bit.
I think Allen is gonna just. I mean, it's a divisional game. Right?
Yeah.
So they have to play well. You got to show out.
They win by I think they end up winning by 20 points.
It might be close in the first half, but
exactly they'll pull away in the second half
because there's nothing the Patriots can do.
It'll be a one-score game at halftime, but I think they'll pull away for sure.
Jacksonville minus 1 against Las Vegas.
Well, this has a lot of implications if you really think about it.
I think the Jaguars win that game. Because Mac Jones looks
decent. They've looked decent the last few weeks.
Mac Jones can win a game for you.
Yeah, he can win a game. He wins this game, and I
don't think Vegas wants to win.
They shouldn't want to win.
Yeah, they want to.
They want the two overall picks.
I'm taking Jacksonville.
I'm taking Jacksonville. Yeah.
Bucks minus 4 against Dallas. That's a
weird. Bucks are.
I might take Bucks by more than that.
Yeah.
Because they need to win too.
Dallas is gritty though. They're not a team that
I could see Cooper Rush having 3-4 touchdowns against the Tampa Bay defense.
But I think Baker lights it up.
Yeah.
So I would say
it might be a high scoring game.
I think they win a high scoring game. Yeah. I would take Bucks even with the points.
That's a decent line.
Yeah.
I'm taking Bucks. Saints Packers minus 14.
I'm taking Packers.
That's a big line.
It's a big line, but I don't. Well, actually,
minus 2 touchdowns. I don't know.
Packers look locked in. They look
because the Saints always just have a somewhat close game.
Well, I mean, last Sunday was a game I did not expect to be close. I'm taking.
But the Packers are going to be dialed right now.
Packers they're locked in.
Yeah,
right now. I have a hard time giving them 14 points.
I have a hard time giving anyone 14 points.
I'm gonna say Saints with the points.
Yeah.
I think
and Packers money line obviously.
Packers money line, but Saints. I think
I would take their points.
Maybe. Yeah, they could make it a 10-point game. I don't know.
I could 100% 20-30.
20.
I could
Exactly. Yeah. So I'd take the Saints.
Yeah. All right. So that's all for NFL then. Good. Okay, we could. Do you want to do MLB free agents?
All right.
Or NBA trade deadline?
Let's start with the NBA. Okay. NBA trade deadline.
All right. So we got right now in the NBA standings. Let me pull this up. So in the East, we got the playoff teams are Cavs, Celtics, Knicks, Magic, Bucks, Heat, Hawks, Pacers.
The East is, in other words,
and there's like a 4-way tie.
In other words, like the 3 through like probably 10 seeds to me are wide. Or I shouldn't say that. The Magic are pretty good.
Magic are decent.
I'd say the 4 through the 10 seeds right now, anything could happen.
The Magic need Wagner back though.
The key, the biggest key in the East is, can the Bucks continue playing well?
I think they can.
Which, if they can, they're a threat to anybody. Despite my thoughts on Doc Rivers, because I think Giannis
and Darvin Ham
in season tournament. I mean,
his right hand man.
But Dame is playing really well this year, which I thought Dame was
because he's healthy.
He's healthy.
He's healthy.
The key is them and Miami, just because I don't know what Miami. We'll talk about Jimmy in a little, but those 2 teams could cause some problems. But
I mean, it honestly looks like, I mean, the Bulls.
I just think we're on a crash course to Cavs Celtics.
I see the top 8 East seeds being pretty much the same.
I think it's Cavs. I just think there's not going to be much.
Yeah.
I think Cavs Celtics is a good series.
I mean, the Cavs are already running away with.
I mean, I'm a guy that I've liked Donovan Mitchell a long time, and I think I'm really glad that he seems locked in this season.
Cavs Celtics, it'll be close all season.
Yeah.
I mean, the Celtics might get the one at the end, but
it really I think the Cavs hang on to the one. I think
the Cavs are really good.
They're really good.
I mean, I think everyone in that organization saw them being good.
Yeah,
that's good roster.
People forget that series they played last year, and the series was 1-1, and then Donovan Mitchell got hurt. So
they have a experienced young team. They have a really experienced coach who only experienced winning a championship in 2022. He got a few playoff teams with the Nets on his own as a head coach.
No, he's the coach of the year by far right now.
Yeah,
so
100%.
But the East, I mean the Celtics are still playing well. I mean
they don't have KP still.
They need KP.
Yeah,
they need KP. But if
they're 21-5 right now.
Yeah. But the West is obviously the more interesting conference.
The West, we got the Thunder, the Grizzlies, the Rockets, the Mavericks, the Nuggets, the Suns, the Warriors, and the T-Wolves, top 8.
And I think even through the Spurs and the Kings are within a game or two.
Right below them, we got Clippers, Lakers, Spurs, Kings. Yeah. I mean, and then the Trailblazers.
It's so tight right now. I have to say though, I don't know how you feel about SGA.
I don't like him.
I know you don't like his game, but I can't deny this team.
Anytime they're down in the game, he just runs into the paint and gets free throws.
But it's effective. It's effective.
Yeah, but in the playoffs, I don't know if the refs swallow the whistles.
My issue with this team was I don't think Jalen Williams.
J-Dub?
I don't like J-Dub. I don't like his game.
But sometimes he can shoot, sometimes he can't.
But I can't deny that this team's
defensively.
Defense. Yeah. Dort might win defensive player of the year.
Dort or Chamber.
And the Caruso.
They're the best defensive team in the league.
They're the best defensive team in the league. When they get Chet back, they're gonna add a lot more size. And SGA, there's such the chemistry on this team. Sometimes chemistry can get you really far.
Yeah, they're all boys.
They're all boys.
The Grizzlies have been the surprise team of the West right now.
And Ja hasn't been
I think he's played into his role really.
He's played into his role really nice. He hasn't been. He's not putting up MVP numbers, but they're surprised. I shouldn't be surprised because they were good.
They got a good coach.
They have a good coach, and they were always a tough team. My issue with them,
I don't know if they can win a series.
They don't have that elite scorer to me. I know Ja's as good as he is. They don't have. Desmond Bane has never been a guy I looked at as an elite scorer, and they have their defense is great. Jaren is probably the best rim protector in the league.
Zaire Williams, good defender.
Edgy, what's the guy?
Zach Edey.
Edey. Yeah. He's good.
7'5", just freak of nature.
If they play the Lakers in the first round, I have a tough time not taking the Lakers in that series. Even if they play the Warriors in the first round, we'll get to them.
Warriors have their number.
I just feel there's certain teams that will have their number.
And I mean, pretty much. I mean, the play-in, it goes down to pretty much the play-in, and it's going to be a really good play because
it's going to be two really good teams will not make the playoffs this year.
And I think the Trailblazers, Jazz, and Pelicans, obviously, they're done for the season already.
Yeah, and
I think they do make some trades.
Mm-hmm. but
the West is going to be
West is stacked, and the Mavericks are scary based on how they're playing right now.
Yeah. If the Mavericks get hot, you can't beat them.
You can't
because they have shooters.
I mean,
everywhere.
the game the other day, Luka's pulling up from 40, and he's making it.
Like Clay's having 30 points, and Quentin Grimes is making
Grimes,
every three that's
PJ Washington, like they're. I still think this is the Thunder's year in the West.
But defensively, the Mavericks.
I think the Thunder.
Inept.
It was good experience last year, and now they're ready to win it.
I still don't think the Thunder.
I do. I like SGA. He won me over. over.
Yeah, I just don't see them. They're not tough.
No,
they're not tough like the other teams are.
I just think that.
I think if they played like the Grizzlies, it would be really
I would
hard.
say they weren't tough, but I think they changed their identity a bit.
I think in a 7-game series against the Grizzlies, it would be really hard for them to like.
I think getting a guy like Caruso who's going to play a lot of great perimeter
off
defense.
The bench too.
I think Dort's a great player.
I
don't
just
know.
gotta see. All right, let's go to the trade deadline.
This is where we need to talk.
So we can start with Jimmy Butler. He's probably the one that's going to get traded.
I have a lot of thoughts. So this is a guy. I love Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
I love when like that playoff run they had a couple years ago is one of my favorite playoff runs of all time. And if you I looked at his numbers. He's still putting up 19, 6, and 5, and he's shooting like 55% from the field. The problem with him is the injury issues.
Yeah.
So if the Heat are willing to get rid of him, I think the Warriors are legit the best fit.
It's just the problem. He definitely fits on the Warriors. It's the problem of what they have to give up, and the Heat know that.
If the Warriors can get him for Podziemski,
Podziemski, I don't know if he's even tradable at this point.
if they could they like his hustle. Maybe the Heat like his hustle. Heat culture.
Heat culture.
Back up Tyler Hero. They like his hustle.
Yeah.
If they can get him for Podziemski, I'm gonna say Moody, and we both like Moody. I'm gonna say Moody because
Steve Kerr doesn't like him.
Steve Kerr certainly doesn't like Moody. And listen, I know he's playing well, but I think if you get Butler, I don't see how Wiggins fits into the offense.
Yeah, Wiggins and Moody both don't fit if you get Butler.
Like if they can get him for those 3 players plus some draft compensation, that's a no-brain trade.
You have to look at how much you're going to give up on top of Wiggins and how much more Butler brings. Because right now the stats are pretty similar between Wiggins and Butler. Yeah. But Butler obviously is the guy.
He adds so much good intensity, and I think he fits them. Like he would. Yeah. He fits them. Defensively, I think he fits them. He's a guy that I think another scorer that Steph can rely on.
And I don't think another team would want to trade for him, really.
Like, they were talking about the Mavericks. I don't know how. No. Where does he fit on the Mavericks?
There's no way. Yeah.
Jimmy Butler's not a number 4.
They would want that. They're only saying that because of the defense. They need somebody.
But Jimmy Butler's not a number 4 scorer.
Yeah, he's not.
The only other team that I kind of like, okay, he could fit is Houston, but Houston doesn't have enough assets to give up.
Yeah, Houston wants to keep all their.
Like, who's Houston going to give up? Dylan Brooks for him?
Yeah,
like,
they got Easton.
And like, I don't think
the Rockets are pretty good though.
No, that's what I'm saying, and I think he would be a good piece for them.
I think the Rockets want to keep what they're doing right
Miami, there's nobody that the Rockets would be willing to give up that Miami would be like. At least with the Warriors have some good talent.
Yeah,
and I don't think they want to give up Kuminga. Every time you say you should give him up, then he'll drop 30. So it's like
I like Moody more than I like Kuminga.
Really?
Yeah.
We just don't know how good he is.
I think Moody. If you play Moody as a rotational guy, he contributes more to the team than Kuminga does overall throughout the season. Kuminga might have flashier performances every now and then, but Moody is a guy. He's gonna contribute to winning. He's gonna hustle every time. He's gonna hit shots.
So BP, Kuminga, Wiggins, and some compensation. If I'm the Heat, I'm taking that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Because
they keep Moody off the bench.
Because they could be a decent seed. Because Tyler Hero is having a great season for them. Bam is still, maybe just offensively not great. But
I mean, you could package even more and then get Hero too.
They're not getting Hero.
You don't think the Heat will get
Hero? I think Hero. I mean,
what are the Heat?
I think at this point the Hero is their cornerstone.
Are the Heat competing right now? You think?
I think they're okay with.
I mean, Hero's not getting any younger.
Yeah, but he's still young.
How old is he?
He's had the point is he's having a career year.
24. Yeah.
I think he's their cornerstone piece. Him and Bam are their cornerstone pieces. I think they can get Terry Rozier. I think.
I think they would have to package Butler with somebody.
They can get we can get Rozier.
Yeah,
Terry
because
Rozier.
the Warriors, they're gonna want a lot for Butler because he is the franchise.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be a big trade if it is gonna happen.
I think, but my point is that's the only team I see.
Yeah,
I don't think that he doesn't fit on the Suns.
And I think he's pretty much the only guy that the Warriors would want right now. There's nobody else. I mean, you could get Zion, Levine.
We'll talk about them, but yeah, I think Jimmy fulfills a role that they need right now. He fulfills a scorer and a guy that will impact the game on both ends.
For sure.
And they'll get rid of we'll finally get a team with some great veteran leadership.
Because the Warriors desperately need another guy right now.
They need a good veteran.
Curry's throwing up shots.
He's exhausted.
He's tired. He doesn't want to be the guy 100% of the time. And
exactly.
He can be.
And my point is Draymond's still playing at a high level defensively. Like, you need to capitalize.
Exactly.
And as good as the Schroeder move was good, that was a good move.
It's not enough though.
It's not enough. Yeah. So I say.
I mean, he is the Podziemski replacement.
Exactly. So Gamer Podziemski's a no-brainer. Yeah. And I think they have to package him with. Yeah. Probably with Kuminga.
For sure. And then Zach LaVine.
Listen, I'm not a fan. I've never been a fan of Zach LaVine. I think everyone loves him from the dunk
volume.
He's a guy that jacks it up.
Yeah.
But I can't lie. He's played well this season.
He's talented.
He's shooting 50% from the field this season.
And it's the health too. He's going to get hurt.
He's always hurt. But this is his biggest issue is no team. He doesn't fit on any contending team.
Yeah. I mean, if the Lakers wanted,
but he doesn't fit. He doesn't fit on the Lakers in a weird way. I just don't think he's.
Because they have D'Lo, yeah.
Well, they would get rid of D'Lo.
Well, Connect 4.
They don't need a guy that's just gonna. He's a little bit better version of D'Lo, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe that's disrespectful.
Is he a ball handler at heart, or is that just what
he's
the
not? I don't trust him handling. Yeah. I would trust Austin Reeves over handling the ball more.
LaVine I would play him as a forward and just.
I mean, there's chatter that the Pistons want to get him, and I'm like, fine.
What's the Pistons' record right now?
They're like the 10 seed. I think they want to make a move. But I mean, but that's my point. He doesn't fit on a contending team. Yeah. Because no contending team wants to hand the keys to their offense to a guy that they don't trust. No. So I think he's talented. I think the Bulls should try to get rid of him because
he's making absurd amounts of money.
So they should try to dump that contract. But he's the guy that I don't see getting traded because I just don't think anybody's really.
Well, that was the thing earlier in the year. They said no teams wanted.
The Warriors said no for Chris Paul.
Yeah. I would do that too.
Because they don't want the money. Yeah, they don't want the cap.
I don't want that contract. I would save it for a better trade.
Yeah.
If I'm doing
so he's a guy I don't see the Bulls getting rid of him.
Yeah.
I don't know who's
Brandon Ingram.
I've never been.
He would fit on the Warriors.
Maybe I'm a hater. I've never liked Brandon.
He just doesn't really look like he cares when he
plays. Not. If I'm the Warriors, I'm not getting Brandon.
He's hurt a lot too.
And if I'm the Lakers, I'm not getting Brandon Ingram.
Yeah.
It's D'Lo all over again.
Yeah.
A guy that the Lakers drafted, failed to develop, went to another team, played well, and they get him back. And he might be good the first month of the trade, but after a while, in the playoffs,
the Pelicans just, I don't know why they're so bad.
It's injuries.
They don't have a point guard.
They got DeJounte Murray, and then he got out. He got injured the first game of the year.
I wanted the Warriors to get him.
Yeah, he's a good player.
He could have been nice.
He's a great two-way player. But Brandon Ingram, I'm just not a fan of his game. I think
the Pelicans are gonna have a really hard time offloading what they have right now, and if they even want to.
I don't think they. I think he's a more reliable piece than Zion is.
Yeah, just because of the health. I mean, Ingram's not even healthy.
No,
all
he's
the
not.
time
Exactly. So
compared to Zion, though, he is.
He's the picture of health compared to Zion. But that leads to the interesting question because the Zion Williamson, the whole story of him,
messed up.
It's the most disappointing thing I've ever seen because when he got drafted. People are talking about Wemby now, but when he was drafted,
talking about
he was the LeBron comparison.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's been, besides maybe 1 year where he was healthy for most of it, I think his second year, it has been one of the most disappointing eras I've ever.
Because when he plays, he gets an easy 25 every time.
But he's just in such bad shape. He doesn't care, and that's why I'm saying if a team like the Warriors with a lot of great veteran leadership really held him accountable, that might
like
be
Wiggins.
Like that might be the thing he needs, because people like are saying like, oh, like the Jazz or the Trailblazers want to get him, but I think he's gonna be mediocre the rest of his career if he continues
Jazz, Blazers, Nets.
if he continues to get traded to bad teams. Like I think what's best for him is to go to a contending team with great veterans.
So he can like lock in.
But I don't think the Warriors, because he's not reliable.
It doesn't make sense for the Warriors.
Why would they give up all their young talent for a guy they don't even trust?
We already have an undersized center forward. We don't need another one.
But I don't know.
Wiggins is better than
I don't know where he fits, because I don't think any team is like.
He's such a weird player because he can't shoot. He doesn't stretch the floor.
Exactly.
He can drive in maybe, but if you're playing a team with Zach Edey in the paint, there's not much he can do.
Yeah.
But,
so.
Yeah. And then Valanciunas, I mean,
I think the Lakers are gonna get him. They're gonna find a way. They're in love with him.
I can see. Yeah.
I can see him. They've been in love with. They need a backup center.
Yeah.
But
D'Lo,
they'll probably do a package deal with involving D'Lo, but I think if they can get Valanciunas,
I think JJ Redick wants to kill D'Angelo Russell secretly.
I think we
not
all
even
do.
secretly,
No, publicly.
Yeah.
He's broken 1,000 clipboards watching film on this guy.
Yeah. Sexton, I mean, he's a good player anywhere he goes. He could come off the bench.
Yeah, I mean, we could listen.
I could see him going to the Celtics.
That's a good move for the Celtics.
With Pritchard.
Listen, we could talk about Danny Ainge and the Jazz all we want and how atrocious I think his managing is.
He turned Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert into Jordan Clarkson and Lauri Markkanen.
And now both those guys are making big impacts on playoff teams.
Yep, Mitchell's leading the best team in the East.
And Gobert has been Defensive Player of the Year multiple times.
Yeah.
The fact that they didn't, well, it's also on the Warriors that they weren't willing.
It's on Steve Kerr.
They weren't willing to give up Podziemski for Lauri Markkanen.
Podziemski was an untouchable for Steve Kerr.
I think Lauri Markkanen would be a perfect number 2 for the Warriors.
I don't know if they would still do it, the Jazz. I think
they know they have
leverage. They think they have leverage.
Well, they just gave him a big contract. Yeah. I mean, I think they legit think that he is the future of their franchise, and I don't think he is. Yeah. Because I don't think he's a number 1.
Lowry.
Yeah, I just don't. I think he's a great player, but he's not a number 1.
On the Warriors, he would be so good.
He would be so good.
He would be so good on the Warriors.
He would fit them perfectly.
You could play him exactly like Looney, but when Looney's open, it would be Lowry hitting a 3.
Oh my goodness. He would be perfect. But so
I mean, Jeremy Grant is almost a Walmart Lowry.
Exactly.
I would consider that.
I would consider
the health is an issue, though. Yeah. Bobby Portis, he's old.
Bobby Portis is old, but
I don't see the Bucks trading him.
No. Well, not right now. Not right now.
And then Mitchell Robinson, I think.
Yeah. Those are the biggest names. I think by far Jimmy is the name to watch, because I think
it's going to be a pretty boring trade.
I know. I think Jimmy's the only big name that will end up getting
traded. Because the West has so many teams that are like, we can contend. Why would we trade a guy like that? Like, we're going to keep our guys. We're going to keep going.
I think it's going to be the Lakers and the Warriors.
Yeah.
Like these aging teams that maybe have one last run that are going to throw the kitchen sink.
Need a guy.
And the Warriors are in a better position just because they have so much young talent to trade.
Yeah.
But I think Jimmy will end up getting traded because I just think Miami is, not that they're done with him, but they had their window, they couldn't get it done, and they want to get younger. And I don't think his contract just hurts them. And
Butler is the guy that moves around more than anybody.
I agree.
Well, we can move on to MLB free agency.
Here we go.
So we got 9 guys here. This is pretty much the 9 guys that are left that would make any sort of difference.
Yeah.
So we got number 1, Corbin Burns. I think he's probably going to the Giants. I think
really? Now it's probably going to the Giants.
It's between the Blue Jays and the Giants.
I bet you have dreams about Logan Webb, Corbin Burns.
I mean, if it was Farhan, we would already have him on a 1-year deal right now. I think Posey's trying to work out a long deal with him.
The Orioles should get him back.
I don't think he can. I don't think he will.
It's too bad though.
This is what he said. He said he wants to go to. First of all, he's from Northern California.
Oh.
He wants to go to a team, obviously, that's going to pay him a lot of money. He wants to go to a team with a young rotation, he said, that's going to help learn from him. Okay. And the Giants, I mean, say what you want about them, they have a young rotation.
They have a young rotation. That would be a good move for them. I'm trying to think of.
And I think Adonis, being his former teammate, they know each other.
Okay,
I could see that.
I wish he stayed on the Orioles because I think the Orioles.
I think it's between. When they say between Blue Jays and Giants, I think it's between Orioles and Giants.
The Blue Jays are always that team that people say they.
Shohei's on a plane.
Shohei's on a plane.
Corbin's on a plane to Toronto right now.
They're always that team that people think they're gonna make a big splash.
Because they have before, sort of, with like Hyunjin Ryu.
Because everyone agrees that they have a lot of talent on that team, but they've never been able to ever do anything.
And then they didn't make any moves this season when they thought they were.
Exactly.
They were gonna rebuild, but then Vladdy turned into his former self.
His former self.
They just couldn't decide.
I think the Giants could get it. That'd be a great move for them.
I think they are.
I
think that's our next move.
I mean, I personally think Snell is. Well, actually, I would say Snell.
It's just so weird. Snell, you don't know what he's going to do.
You don't know what he's going to do. Exactly. But that's a good
finished off as the best pitcher in the league.
Yeah. So if they would significantly improve.
I could see him going like 8 years to 15.
That'll probably be what.
And even though that's overpaid.
Well, do you remember what Max Fried got?
Got the contract. I think he got like 205. Let me see.
Yeah. Because I think he's better than Max Fried.
Oh, he got 8 year 218. So I could see Corbin 230.
He's gonna look for 230. Yeah.
8 year, same amount of time.
Yeah.
Max Fried's 30 years old.
Really? Wait, how old is Burns?
Yeah, I'm about to check.
Max
Fried's like 32.
Max Fried's 30.
He's 30. He's the same age as.
Wow.
From Bakersfield.
I remember when Max Fried was a rookie.
That doesn't make any sense. How are Corbin Burns? I mean, Corbin Burns has been better for longer, I think.
Won a Cy Young.
Yeah, he's been like on the Brewers. He was on there for so long,
and he had he was great on the Orioles this last season. So, yeah, he's a great pitcher. I think the Giants definitely need to build the rotation.
Yeah, I think that's honestly the best fit for
him. Him and Logan Webb is a great one too.
Yeah. And then all right, we can move on to Roki Sasaki. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of teams that need a pitcher.
Yeah.
I guess it's honestly the Dodgers. Probably pick him up.
Well, might as well just come to us. We're gonna get him.
Or like I could see the A's making like a splash.
I think the A's.
They want to do something.
They're my underrated team to make a wild card. This
yeah, they wanted. They're trying really hard.
They're trying really hard. I respect it.
I could see them going to the A's. I could see them going to like the Brewers or something to replace some of the pitching they've lost.
I think these guys that come from Japan, I want them as a Dodger fan, but also I feel like if I'm them, I would want to make my name
established somewhere else.
Because if he goes to the Dodgers, they already have Ohtani and Yamamoto. Yeah. Like I would think they would want to establish themselves somewhere else.
I could see him Orioles or Yankees too.
I would if I'm the Orioles.
The Yankees are probably going after him.
If I'm the Orioles need to keep afloat.
Yeah.
Like I know they've been bounced from the first round the last 2 years, but they're a really good young team.
Mm-hmm. And they're the best young team.
Exactly, and they can't let this get away from them. Yeah. Like they need to stay afloat with the Yankees.
I mean, their farm system will keep them alive.
It'll keep them alive, but
years.
They need to they need to add to the rotation, and they have a lot of great young talent. Yeah. But I think he'll end up going to the Dodgers.
Mets even too.
I just think that he wants to be in a comfortable environment, and the Dodgers provide that.
I don't think the Giants want him either.
No, they're getting Corbin.
Well, they want him, but I don't think they could get him.
Yeah.
And then Bregman, he's interesting. I don't know.
How old is he?
Because he's not really
I think his best years are behind him.
What has he done besides in the last like 4 seasons besides the playoffs?
I legit think he is.
He did have a pretty good year last year.
His contract will be carried by the fact that he's won multiple championships.
So last year he was. 260 average, 26 home runs.
If I'm him, good. Well, I guess he's gonna get a lot of money someplace else. I would just stay in Houston.
I could see him go to the Red Sox.
I think he's gonna go.
And he could play. He could switch to like second base or something.
He's gonna go to the Red Sox. That would be my team. If I were him, Houston's makes the playoffs every year. Don't you I feel like
and they traded Tucker too. I think they're pretty much saying we're gonna start to.
That's what I'm saying.
We're gonna start.
That was a move. That was a move that
we're gonna get a younger team. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's gonna go to the Red Sox, but I can't imagine. Like he's one of those guys I always imagine him on the Astros. It'd be weird.
Pete Alonso, I don't know why
This
he would
is
leave
the
Mets.
most. This is the most interesting one
I
because
don't know why he'd leave the Mets.
I was for sure he was going to leave the Mets when they got Soto, but now I'm like,
but then he went off in the playoffs.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, you know what? He's their identity.
If he comes back, the Mets are like offensively, they're
like
really
in a
good.
weird way. Like that's been their identity,
Yeah.
like him. So if they lose him,
they lose 50 home runs.
They lose 50 home runs.
Yeah,
that's a massive part of their lineup.
yeah.
Man.
And who do they replace him with? Even
I don't know.
they don't have someone.
They have nobody.
They maybe have some But if I could see them getting Sasaki and Alonso back, and that would make them like
I think they need to get Alonso.
That would make them a contender.
Like, well, where do you think he goes to Yankees? They do the switcheroo with him and Soto.
I think they want to. They're trying, but I don't know if he would. I think he would use that as leverage for the Mets and resign.
Well, how much would his contract be?
Too much, whatever it's going to be.
Like
it's everybody.
The Mets can go the deferred salary.
Has anyone else even done that?
No,
deferred
just Dodgers because they don't want. It's too risky.
Yeah,
like
you're paying $90 million a year for nothing.
Yeah,
in 10 years.
Exactly. It's too risky.
Santander.
Yeah.
What do you think?
He's so good. He's underrated.
He had a resurgence. I think
he's so underrated. I think he's gonna go to
He could go back to the Orioles. I think I saw something. He's not gonna. He doesn't.
Well, he's gonna get a massive contract because he had so many home runs.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's a generational
what teams
player.
could really? What teams?
I was hearing like the Tigers, maybe.
The Tigers are actually
Tigers. I don't know how
they've made no noise in free agency.
They made no noise, but they're a team that's kind of on the come up.
I mean, the Braves maybe. The Braves.
The Braves.
Need something.
Yeah, it's the same team. Like the Red Sox need power. I don't know. I don't know too much about the guy. I know that he had a great season. I think the Orioles have a lot of young talent that makes him probably replaceable.
Yeah.
So
100%.
They're not going to pay him an absurd amount of money.
They want to bring up another. They want to bring up another blonde white guy.
At some point, they're going to bring up Jackson Holiday. Like at some point. I mean,
wait, let's see.
But yeah,
I'm looking at the teams right now. The Guardians are.
What
are they gonna do?
They're such a frisky team. I don't know. A lot of these MLB teams, I'm like, man.
The Guardians don't.
I'm like, man, if they can just get to the playoffs, because the Guardians have the best bullpen in baseball.
Yeah.
They have solid starting pitching and they have solid players. They don't have superstars, but they have solid guys. Like
pitching all.
They could have easily won that Yankees series. Like they lost because of a few bad pitches. Yeah. Honestly.
I mean, I can see the Giants signing Santander too. They need an outfielder. They don't have their outfield right now.
How much is Posey willing to spend?
That's the thing. Their outfield is Ramos, Lee, Yastrzemski. It's like
that's a tough outfield. Unless you get 2020 Mike Yastrzemski back.
Yeah. I mean, he could go to the Giants. I don't know if they want to be a younger team or an aging team.
I think the Tigers will get. I think the Tigers will be willing to spend for him.
And then Christian Walker. That's
he's the guy for the Yankees.
I think him and Alonso have a lot to do with each other.
I think if the Yankees can't get Alonso, they're getting Christian Walker.
I think Walker and Alonso are dependent on each other.
They're getting one of those guys.
Yeah. And then Teoscar. What do you think he's gonna do?
That's my guy.
He's gonna come back, you think? I mean, if he was coming back, I think he already would have.
He already would have.
Yeah, I think he's gonna get big money somewhere.
This is my thing. How much does the human heart play a factor in this?
He's not. He won his ring. If he didn't win a ring, then it would. But the fact that he won, he's going. He's
he loves it here so much. Yeah, he loves it.
Maybe we'll go to the Angels. Dude, the Angels are handing out contracts.
They are handing out contracts.
Who did they just sign? They just gave someone a big deal.
I know they did. I expect nothing less from them.
Let me see.
Is Rendon still on the team?
I think he is. Oh, they signed Yusei Kikuchi. They gave him. Let's see.
I think the Yankees are gonna go hard for Teoscar.
Let's see. They gave Kikuchi. They gave him 3 or $36 million deal. I mean, that's not that bad, honestly. Wait, no, that was his contract with the Blue Jays. Never mind.
He needs to be on a
3 years, $63 million. They gave him. They gave him double the contract the fucking Blue Jays gave him.
All right. Well, listen. Teoscar can go to the Angels if they're willing to pay him. But if I'm Teoscar, he needs to be on a contending team. He
Yeah.
adds so much.
I could see him going back to the Dodgers, honestly. Or the Yankees.
I don't know.
There's like 4 teams that are gonna sign people.
That's
every
what I'm
offseason.
saying. Like
It's so stupid in baseball.
Well, I mean, listen, if I'm the Giants, I'm giving him a call.
Yeah.
Even though
they did last season.
I would give him a call. He is a very good player.
He would fit, but he wouldn't go to.
He's
the
a very good
Giants.
player. I think we're gonna get him back. I really do. Even though I'm
Yeah.
surprised. I thought this would be a done deal like a week after the World Series.
You never know. There could be a diamondback in the grass, a snake in the grass, watching, or just waiting for a little Teoscar to bite.
Well, listen, I can go off about the Diamondbacks. I think
They don't want to. They're not going to sign it. It's weird.
they don't want to sign him, but their offense.
It's good. Corbin Carroll.
Well,
he sucks.
both a guy we like a lot, Jock Peterson. Actually, he added a lot to their team
after he left the Giants.
I know. After he left the Dodgers.
Yeah. But
they don't want to spend money.
They have to have a lot of money because they don't have any big contracts. I mean, Christian Walker
Marte, I think they paid.
Kmart, he's good.
He's their best.
Christian
player.
Walker was probably their biggest contract, and he's good.
They're not re-signing.
Yeah, it's so weird. Why wouldn't they re-sign him?
Yeah,
he's been the best first baseman over the last 4 or 5 seasons.
He's so underrated. Too.
Yeah,
Teoscar's a weird one. He had such a good year.
I don't think it's repeatable, and I think his defense might be a concern. Because if you're gonna sign him as a DH,
yeah,
if you're a team like the Giants or someone who needs outfield presence, then he's almost not as valuable. Because you want a guy that can run.
I think the Dodgers are gonna end up getting him back. I think he likes it too much in LA.
He might come back for a cheap deal.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, he has made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Tanner Scott is. Every team in the league needs a closer. I mean,
every team will take him.
Every team in the league needs a closer. Jack Flaherty.
Well, okay.
Probably back to the Dodgers.
I don't think so.
You don't. I mean, I could see him coming back on like a 3-year, $18 million deal as a reliever.
I know the Dodgers have money to spend. I would not spend it on him. I think
in the playoffs he collapsed.
I think he's a solid starter. What's weird is he was traded from the Tigers, right?
Cardinals.
Or the Cardinals? Like he
was on the Cardinals forever.
Yeah. He's a solid.
No. Detroit.
It's weird.
He was on Detroit.
That's what I'm saying. Like Detroit made the playoffs. Like
I did not even realize
they had that other pitcher who's
Skubal
is awesome, but because I was thinking to myself, I'm like, man,
he played for Baltimore.
Yeah,
at one point last season or 2 seasons ago.
But like teams like that, I feel like could use him.
Why did because the Tigers before the deadline they
weren't good. They went on a run.
Yeah, they were like a 70-win team.
Yeah, they went on a run after it.
So that's why. Yeah.
I don't think he resigns with the Dodgers. I think someone's gonna give him a stupid amount for a contract.
Like the Braves or something. The Angels.
I think
the Angels might offer
please give him 120 million.
The Twins. I could see him go to the Twins.
I think the Twins could give him a massive contract. Yeah. I think the Giants could give him a massive contract.
I won't want him.
Well, I know you don't want him, but
I don't want that fucker, dude.
I know you don't want him, but I'm telling you, like.
I mean, he had good stats in the regular season.
He had a very poor postseason.
Yeah, he did.
And I think considering how many people the Dodgers are going to get back from injury, and we already got Snell, I don't see like any real reason to give him like a massive contract. I just don't. If he played well in the postseason, that's
the Dodgers are set with pitchers too.
Exactly, and if he had a great postseason, that's
Padres could get him.
Padres might get him.
I could see.
I think the Padres get him because the Padres
are money. They like to spend money too.
They love to spend money, and they need that other.
They're going to at some point.
They need another guy on the rotation.
Yeah, they're gonna spend money at some point this year.
They need another guy on the rotation, and they're always a threat. So I would say Padres.
Yeah.
Padres
or Twins.
Padres, Twins. Like my point is someone's gonna give him a lot of money.
Because
he had a great regular season.
You have to overpay if you want players now.
Which is sad, but it's the truth. Yeah.
Garrett Crochet going to the Red Sox. Yeah. I mean that's so smart from the Red Sox. They don't have to pay him.
Exactly.
You want to trade for players now. Exactly. You want to give up prospects. You don't want to pay people. Let them play out their current contract and let them go.
Right.
That's the way the MLB is right now.
And there's so many like opt-out contracts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So
it's all the free agents.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, we could talk about UFC, but we got like 2 hours right now.
We got a lot of content.
Dude, I'm excited to fucking edit this.
And those